So, just to bring everybody up to speed, we are on day 3, which means we are going to be finishing up this tournament today. Alpha Jackal will be casting these matches here in just a little bit. But just to make sure that everybody is brought up to speed on all the current matches, match 12 and match 14 were the two that have not been played, and obviously they have had some sort of an outcome. Spoiler alert, Flip Erickson and Romeo are going to be facing Miju and Destiny in the lower bracket of round 4. But with that being said, I will go ahead and show you guys that match right now. Alright, and we are here with Zarzith and Hopeless Minds versus Flip Erickson and Romeo. I will be the only one solo casting this. I've probably said this before because Juicy wasn't able to make it. This is a pre-recorded match, so we're just getting this taken care of and out of the way. Bans are already pretty much straightforward. Afro gets banned out, Chang'e gets banned out, 2 healers, a lot of invincibility. Pretty straightforward. Gilgamesh is going to get banned out here. Another really strong pick that we've seen all throughout this tournament. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. Personally, I think this is just going to be a 2-0 sweep and that we're only doing this for formality reasons, and the players seem to agree with that. Hell gets banned out. I'm going to crack open a cold one even though it's just me here. Ah, yeah, I love that sound. Wait for it. Ah, yeah, buddy, that's what's up. Achilles gets banned out, Raw gets banned out, and by the way, I'm drinking responsibly. I'm drinking a Monster. And Tiamat is going to be the final ban for the blue side, and let's see what gets banned out here. I'm trying to think of what's left open here. We've seen Soul be left open. Osiris is another one that's being left open. I really can't think of what's out here on the table. We've seen Guan Yu come out a couple of times. We've seen a Hunter Guardian duo, but it's mostly been the mages and the warriors. And Tyr is going to be the final ban for this red side. And the blue team just kind of taking their time trying to figure out what's going to be the best option for them. It depends on how badly they want to put him to the ground, and Guan Yu is going to get locked in here. Guan Yu's pretty strong. We've seen it come out a couple of times. We've seen it paired up with the Morrigan in the Hellerin match. Can't remember which day it was. But we've seen Guan Yu and Morrigan get paired up really well. And the red team just kind of taking their time, just trying to figure out what's going to be their best option here just to try and get them a win. We know Siobhan has played Medusa, and that was banned out in their match, and he's actually going to be hovering an RDO, which means we could be seeing a physical Hunter if this does get locked in. And on her is being hovered. Got a cripple. That could actually be pretty useful here going into an impale and into the pillar. And it is going to be an on her and RDO lock, and the Raijin has been played several times and it's looked really good. Kronos has looked good as well. Persephone actually made it through, but they're leaning back towards this Kronos. I don't know. I think Kronos is a really good pick, but I mean, you're not gonna pick the Persephone, which has been really strong. Interesting. So it's gonna be Guan Yu and Kronos versus Onher and Artio. And I mean, not to be that guy, but let's be honest here. I think the blue team is just going to walk away with this one. I'm not trying to put the red team down, but we were joking about it in conversation, getting this match set up, and I'm like, not to be that guy, but I think it's going to be a 2-0 sweep. And we just kind of laughed it off. So it's really great to see everybody just having a good laugh about this and that we're all having a good time. I really don't know what to do because Juicy isn't here. I don't have anything to bounce off of him. And we will get loaded into the game right now. Alright, here we go. Everybody's going to go ahead and get loaded in, and we will be seeing our first items and stuff coming out here. And we have a couple of interesting picks here. We see Guan Yu actually going for a Boomba Spear and a restored artifact, which could be an early Ratatouille for this Kronos here. We see Sunder being picked up for both of our warriors here and beads being picked up for both of the ADCs. It looks like this blue team is going to have a lot faster clear. I'm going to be interested to see what happens with this Boomba's Dagger, because ultimately it's going to be for a Boomba Spear. It seems like a really interesting pickup. I don't know exactly how this is going to turn out, and we see a Sentinel's Gift being picked up for the Artio. The team is going to clear the first wave a little bit faster. They're going to pick up the XP camps. The red team realizes that they are going to be coming back into lane. Onher does get stunned, is going to take a couple of auto attacks, does get a heal from Artio and a lot of damage, about half health onto this Onher. Just a little bit more farming. Guan Yu taking a bit of damage, but does have the healing in the kit. Onher is going to be healing a little bit back with this leather cowl, does have a little bit of lifesteal on it. And the blue team is going to pick up the back XP camp, and the red team is going to be going for theirs. See a couple of wards getting placed. We have one here in the mid lane, one in the jungle, and there's another one in the jungle just up the road a little ways. And the blue team has hit level 5, so they are going to have their ultimates up here in just a moment. They actually do have the ultimates up. And the red team is going to hit level 5, so they are keeping even with the XP. Despite losing both the mid, well actually just the mid camp. Red buff has been contested early on in a lot of these games, so we'll be expecting to see that here in just a moment. Artio taking a little bit of poke, and we see the blue team automatically going for this red buff. And the red team is going to be here to contest, and Onher does drop the ultimate, isn't able to get the clear though. Artio getting caught out, uses the stun, and is going to dash away. Onher does take a little bit of poke from the Kronos. And the red buff is going to go onto this Guan Yu. See Ardio getting the lockdown, a little bit of healing. And Guan Yu looks like he's going to back here. He's going to leave Kronos to clear out this wave. And it looks like the Kronos is going to take it back here. He's actually going to go back for the speed camp, and the blue buff will be coming up for the red team, but they are going to focus out the wave instead. A little bit of a slow start, a little bit of poke across both sides, and it looks like the blue team could be stepping up towards this blue camp. But they're choosing not to go for it. Instead, they're just going to place a vision chart down and go for their back at blue camp. Red team is going to go for their speed camp. And Kronos does have a bit of gold in hand after sitting in lane for so long. Guan Yu is the only one to have backed, and it looks like the blue team is going to go ahead and back both of them. And it is a Rada Tahuti first item for the Kronos, and we see a Gauntlet of Thebes coming out for the Guan Yu, another Gauntlet of Thebes for the Ardio. And Transcendence coming out for the On Her. We're kind of just sitting in a little bit of a stalemate here. Not a lot happening in these first 4 minutes. No tower poke, just sitting around and farming. See a little bit of an aggressive play on her, somehow manages to leap. It's going to take a bit of poke, but is going to get healed up for 120 of his current health. Misses the impale. We see the ultimate coming through, and Kronos is going to use the reset. So both of the ADCs trade out their ultimates here. Ardio uses the cripple field, does take a lot of damage, but looks like it's going to be fine. Guan Yu taking just a little bit more health. Guan Yu goes into the ultimate. It's going to land on the Ardio, does get the stun, and First Blood is going to go onto the Kronos. And we see On Her aggressively leaping in, and we see both Sunders being used from this Guan Yu. On Her trying to be really careful here, is going to get caught out though. Going to try and use the red buff to their advantage. Is going to leap away. Guan Yu should have a dash up here, but Kronos is going to pick up the other kill, and it is going to be a deicide onto the red team. 2-0 for the blue team in a very clean fight. Kronos is going to take the back here. He might stick around for the mana camp as it comes up, but he isn't going to do that. Taking a look at items here, interestingly enough, the Wing Blade is going to be the pickup for this Kronos here, doing a lot of damage with this Rada Tahuti start. Taking a look at the XP charts, XP sitting at about 2,000 difference, gold difference about 1,100, so that's a little bit closer. Every little bit of gold and everything else is going to be mattering, and we see an engage. And the blue team actually does get their blue buff, but they're not going to be able to pick it up here. Kronos is level 10, has a 2-level lead over everybody else. And it just goes back to farming here. I think it's pretty interesting that we see Siobhan actually going onto a tank here instead of either picking up a Medusa, which wasn't banned out. But of course, I don't know too much about Zarzith. I don't know what her god pool is. So maybe that was just a call that they decided to make right then and there. On Her is going to back and is going to be going into what could be an Ichevol. He is going into Transcendence, does have that almost halfway stacked there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, as Kronos is going to be looking for the engage. On her is going to be forced to use beads. Guan Yu goes into the ultimate, is going to land down on the RDO. A ton of damage coming through, and we see a Sunder. A little bit of protection shred, but Guan Yu isn't going to be able to finish the kill. A little bit of a wasted ult and a wasted relic there. Sunder does have a 50-second cooldown right now on her using the pillar. Is going to get poked out by this Kronos. Isn't quite able to finish a kill. RDO putting in a little bit of work just to try and keep this tower standing. And the blue team is going to be able to pick up this red buff without any sort of problems. Taking a look at the items once again, and it is going to be a Sovereignty coming out for the Guan Yu. And we are going to see this Chrono start going into the rings, a Pestilence coming out from the RDO. And Zarzith has still yet to have finished the bow. And it looks like Zarzith could be able to finish it here. But Kronos is just going to go ahead and aggress forward here. And it looks like they're going to try and bait out this blue buff once again. We see a blink actually coming through on her, uses the ultimate. Guan Yu does use the ultimate as well. The blue team does pick up this blue buff once again, just holding off the farm from this red team here. And it's starting to show. This gold now sitting at about 1,500, the XP at 3,000. The XP really is what's going to catch this entire red team off. Two-level difference in between the tanks and a 2-level difference in between the ADCs. And on her is going to need to be careful here. Does take a lot of damage. Kronos is going to be trying to focus out this tower here. RDO trying to body block as much as they can. Kronos going to be taking a lot of damage, but this tower is going to fall eventually. And that just means a little bit more gold and a little bit more XP in favor of this blue team here. Telekine's ring is going to be the pickup for this Kronos. And on her does pick up the Ikavol and does finish off that Transcendence with that wave right there. Taking a look at the XP chart just after that, still at about 3,000 and 1,500 for XP and gold respectively. And we're just waiting to see another fight break out here. The Demon King is up, but there's no real protection shred on either side. See, on her using the pillar, Guan Yu does go into the ultimate. RDO does get stunned out. On her goes into the ultimate. Kronos taking a lot of damage, and we hear a Sunder coming through. Kronos is going to use the reset. On her is taking a lot of damage here, is going to leap over the wall. Kronos misses everything, and it looks like this on her might be able to come through. The impale onto the Guan Yu is going to be good. The impale just creates enough space, but this on her is going to have to back, and it looks like the blue team is going to go for the Demon King here. Guan Yu does have a little bit of protection shred, but it's going to be flat protection shred. And it looks like they're actually, the red team is not going to be able to contest this here. It's going to be cleaned up fairly quickly. They will have that buff for about the next minute and a half here. They're going to need to push up onto this Phoenix. And there is a wave getting ready to push into the blue team's tower line here. And Kronos is going to go ahead and back. Actually, Kronos decides not to back here. He's going to be walking up, clearing out the wave. We see an upgraded Sunder coming through, and Blink is going to come through. Kronos just looking to be aggressive on her, does drop the ultimate, but it looks like Guan Yu is going to be able to pick up the kill here, and Aegis is going to come through, and there goes the beads, and Guan Yu is going to pick up the kill there. See a Sunder coming through. Actually, sorry, there is no Sunder. And looks like they're going to disengage. Kronos is going to start taking a couple shots onto this Phoenix here, about 3/4 of the way done with their Demon King buff. Artio is going to get stunned, taking quite a bit of damage here. Is going to run away though. And this Phoenix will fall. Red team in quite a bit of trouble here as they do walk into the tower line. Or, sorry, the Titan line. It's pumping out quite a bit of damage. Titan at about half health here. And it looks like the blue team is going to back here and try and take some sort of reset. And On Her is just going to keep walking forward. They do have fire minion waves getting ready to be pushed up here. And the red buff is going to fall in favor of the blue team. XP at about 4,500, and gold difference now really starting to show 2,500 in favor of the blue team. Demonic Grip is going to come through, and Talisman of Energy for this blue team. And the red team really hasn't been able to finish any sort of items. The only item to note here is Sovereignty, but it's really not doing any sort of wonders here in this particular match. And it looks like the blue team might be getting ready to go for this Demon King once again. It is getting ready to come up. They're just going to go back and they're just going to collect whatever experience and gold that they can and whatever buffs that they decide. Red team does have wards placed on either side of the entrance, so they'll know whenever they are coming through, and we see a double blink coming through. Kronos agresses forward. Guan Yu goes into the ultimate, but really isn't going to make much use of it, and Kronos is just going to be whacking away here at this Titan. Tanks are going after tanks. On Her is going to get stunned out, and that's going to be one use of the Sunder, but it's not going to matter. Artio trying to do whatever they can, but it doesn't look like it's going to be good. Artio is going to fall here in a double kill for this Kronos, and Titan is going to fall. The blue team is going to be up 1-0. The red team looking to try and take on this reverse sweep. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle here. And we will go ahead and jump into the next game. I'm going to ignore that. You guys didn't see anything. It was a pretty interesting match. The blue team was able to walk away there and just kind of really do whatever they want. And we are in game 2 already. Are we going to be seeing a shift in bans? I'm not entirely sure. And the blue team did decide to go ahead and switch over here. So Zarthith and Hopeless Minds are going to be in that first pick slot. Chang'e being banned out. That was one of the bans in the last game. Gilgamesh was another ban. Raw is gonna be banned out here. I do expect this blue team to try and leave Afro open, but the red team is gonna go ahead and ban it here. Hell is gonna get banned out, so a lot of the same bans as we saw before, no shift in anything. Tiamat being banned out. Once again, just still a lot of these same bans, and not a lot has changed here. And Izanami is going to be the shifted ban here. A lot of it is just going to be because of tower push. And that's about it for this Izanami. Other than that, there's not a lot that Iza can do here. I'm wondering if that was just kind of more of a throwaway ban, aside from anything else, and Persephone is going to get banned out here as the 8th and final ban. We're just waiting to see what these pickups are going to be. And the Poseidon is going to be locked in here. Poseidon does have a lot of presence just for setup and just the area denial that he could have. And Anubis is being hovered now. Anubis, I mean, probably some of the best one-on-one potential. It's a really good beads burner, does a lot of damage. But the problem is, though, is that you're not going to be able to really walk away from this Poseidon without either having to use your beads or taking a lot of damage. But it is going to be the Chronos that the red team is going to go back to. And the Achilles being hovered here, the Guan Yu was left open. It worked out for them last time. I don't see why they wouldn't go for it again. And Achilles is going to go ahead and get locked in here, so we are waiting to see what the tank is, and it's going to be Osiris hovered. I expect this to be locked in, and it is going to get locked in for Siobhan. Osiris does have a bit of anti-heal, so that could be good going into this Achilles. Does have the tether, which could make it hard for this Achilles to escape. It looks like that they might be trying to focus out this Achilles, but they're leaving a lot of potential open on this Chronos here. And we will be loaded into this match in just a moment. And for everybody who's watching, who has been following throughout this entire tournament, thank you. We will be streaming with Alpha Jackal the day that this is being showed. That'll happen right after the stream, which is going to be showed here in a little bit. Or you're watching the stream now. I'm recording this on Wednesday, so I'm having to think in terms of Saturday. But anyways, we are loaded into the game here. We will be seeing our first items and stuff coming out in just a moment. I wonder if Siobhan's having problems loading in. Maybe Siobhan unplugged his internet router. That's entirely a possibility. Alright, and Siobhan is back. And we will be unpausing in just a moment. Well, it did not like me doing that. I don't know what I did. Oh. Am I not allowed to like sit? I guess I'm not allowed to sit right there. Even though I've done it like the entire tournament. And we see our first items are already coming through. The tier 2 of Ratatouille, I'm assuming, for the Poseidon, and the same start for the Kronos. And a blink pickup on the Achilles and a Sunder pickup on this Osiris. And it is going to be a Bluestone pendant on the Osiris. Something that we've seen a little bit in this tournament, but not too much. And we see the glowing emerald coming out, the tier 1 of the Gauntlet of Thebes, and the same thing for the Achilles. And it looks like the red team does have a bit of a faster clear. Siobhan was a little bit late to the blue buff. And in turn, that's just going to give him a lot of pressure here. Poseidon taking a lot of damage just from the Achilles, and the stun is going to come through. Kronos is going to miss that ability, so Poseidon is going to be alive here. But he's going to need to be really careful. Not a lot of healing. And the red team, once again, just has a lot of pressure, and Kronos is going to be taking a lot of damage here, but Poseidon in a lot of trouble. Is going to get picked off here. It looks like the minions were actually taking some of the aggro. And the red team already with first blood, and it's going to be a lot faster start in this game already. Already the red team has hit level 5, stealing the blue team's XP camp, and they're already going to go ahead and grab this middle XP. And they're probably just going to go ahead and grab theirs as well. But that's not going to be the case here. They're just going to step forward and say, hey, this 2-0 sweep, yeah, we're sorry about it. And just like that, Kronos is just going to clear wave. Ooh. I'm going to need to edit that out. I'm going to put a censorship there. The red team is going to pick up this red buff. And it's going to go onto the Achilles. Achilles poking out this Osiris, and it looks like Osiris might be able to fall here, but it's just barely going to walk away with any sort of health here. And the red team is going to go ahead and reset. Poseidon is going to stop this Achilles from backing. Taking a look at the XP charts, and XP is sitting at about 800 right now, and gold at about 1,000 just because of the first blood bounty. Poseidon taking a lot of damage here. The fatal strike is going to come through onto this Achilles, is going to take a tower shot, really low on health, and Siobhan is actually going to be able to pick up a kill here. Is going to try and deal with this Kronos, but Kronos is going to be poking him for a lot. The stun is going to come through, and Kronos is just going to stand there. So Achilles has already got 2 kills, and the blue team has picked up that first blood bounty, and a Kronos pendant actually coming out onto this Poseidon. Be interesting to see. Haven't seen the ultimate come through, but abilities are going to be up just that much faster. And we see the ultimate coming through, both ultimates being used from the mages. And the blue team is actually going to have to drop this blue buff here. Red team is going to get it cleared. I'm gonna take the wave. Achilles is gonna go steal their buff. Their XP camp, I should say. And it looks like the blue team is gonna try and look for an engage here, but Osiris is gonna miss the sickle. Achilles stepping forward back onto this Poseidon, already pumping out a lot of damage, but didn't meet the execute threshold. Thought it was going to be a little bit closer there, but Achilles just doesn't quite have the damage. And the red buff once again is going to go in favor of the red team. Osiris just taking a look here and is going to have to back off. And Achilles is going to step forward onto this Poseidon. Poseidon does drop the ultimate. And Kronos is going to pick up a kill here, and it looks like Kronos is going to be really low. Osiris just looking to continue this chase, and Siobhan is going to be able to pick up another kill here. Achilles just is going to step back here, and Osiris is just going to clear out these waves. So a little bit of a reset here. Siobhan, actually 2-0, is going to have a little bit of a bounty on his next kill. And we're seeing a lot of the same builds. We're seeing the Gauntlet of Thieves being picked up on the warriors, and the mages are just kind of doing whatever the hell they want. We see a staff actually coming through onto this Poseidon. Might be an ethereal staff, which would be really interesting to see. We haven't seen that all tournament. Achilles blinking over the wall is going to go onto this Poseidon. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to get the kill, but Kronos is going to be able to pick up the kill here. Osiris just having to take a step back. And Achilles is going to aggress forward, but Kronos is going to be able to take this tower here in 6 minutes. And so far, this Poseidon pick really isn't working out here. Really not doing the damage or anything that I was expecting to see. Does have third highest damage overall, but really only separated by 50 against Siobhan, who's building tanky. Taking a look at the golden XP here. XP sitting at about 1600 and gold at about the same. So relatively even across the board in XP and gold difference. We see Poseidon getting stunned out here is going to be taking a lot of damage, and Achilles actually going to be able to pick up the kill here. Word of the Afterlife does get used, is going to be on this Kronos, but isn't going to take any sort of effect, and the red team is going to head over towards the Demon King. And it looks like they're just going to be able to take it for free. Siobhan doesn't step forward onto this, instead going for the speed camp. And the Demon King will fall here. And the blue team is just basically looking to hold on here. See a Void Shield coming out onto this Achilles, a really nice aura item to have because you're constantly in everybody's face. Kronos looking to take this red buff. We'll get it cleared, and it's going to be the pickup on the Achilles. The blue team is having to go back and reset. A little bit of tower poke onto the red side, but really isn't going to do much here. The Phoenix is disabled, and so Kronos is just freely going to whack away at it. Achilles also helping out here. Achilles is going to step forward, really focus out on this Poseidon. Isn't going to be able to pick up the kill here, and Kronos is just, once again, sitting here whacking away at it. The minions walk in, so a little bit more help with this clear. And the Phoenix will fall in 8 minutes. Achilles blinks forward onto this Poseidon. Ton of damage coming through. The Fatal Strike is going to be good, even through the Aegis. Actually, I am sorry. There was no Aegis there. I don't know what the immunity was. Kronos taking a lot of damage from this Osiris, but is going to use the ultimate, get that reset. Osiris trying to do anything and everything that he can just to try and keep this Titan alive. But he's sitting at pretty low health here, and the minions are putting in a lot of work. Achilles pumping in a lot of damage, is going to take some of the aggro. But the red team is going to drop it on the back of Poseidon respawning here. Poseidon doesn't have the ultimate. Kronos is going to stick around, and so is the Achilles. They're going to catch this Poseidon off guard. Just a ton of damage coming through. Word of the Afterlife does get used onto this Kronos, but Zarzith is going to fall once again. Sunder onto the Achilles. A ton of damage actually coming through, but doesn't look like Siobhan's going to be able to pick up the kill here. And the red team is going to walk away. And Siobhan's going to have a little bit of problems struggling to keep this minion wave here. He's going to be taking quite a bit of damage, and there's another minion wave coming right after that. Blue team's Titan sitting at about half health right now, 40%, however close you want to call it. And taking a look at items, it is an ethereal staff on the Poseidon, and a winged blade for the Osiris. Same build running back for this Kronos, and Achilles is going to go into a Talisman of Energy just after the Void Shield. No upgraded relics, no upgraded Sunder. We see Kronos blinking in, is going to go onto this Poseidon. A ton of damage. Poseidon is going to drop the ultimate. Kronos looking to try and stay alive here. The Sunder has been used. The Sickle is going to come through. And Siobhan is going to be able to pick up the kill here. Is on a killing spree. Osiris is going to get executed by the Achilles. And it looks like he might be able to finish it here. It does have a good set of minions. And is pumping out a bit of damage, but this minion wave right here is going to be causing a little bit of problems. And Achilles isn't going to quite be able to finish it off here. Another minion wave has respawned. And Poseidon is going to be here. Doesn't have the ultimate. Doesn't have the beads quite yet. It's down for the next 10 seconds. And it looks like this Achilles is going to be able to finish it here. Poseidon just trying to clear out the minion waves, trying to get the aggro onto the Achilles. The Titan's at about like 5% health. I think it's clear and cut. I think everything is just pretty much straightforward here. The blue team is just going to pick up the win. The fire minions are going to be pushing in here. And the Phoenix has respawned, so there's going to be a little bit of healing coming out onto the Titan. But is it going to be enough to really change anything? No, let's be honest here. Meditation Cloak. This is an item that was reworked, and it's being picked up by the Osiris. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how this is going to be used, if at all. Achilles is going to blink forward, is going to aggress onto the Poseidon. Once again, Poseidon is going to drop the beads, is going to try and do everything, but Kronos is going to clear out the Phoenix. Titan sitting at about 10% health. The ultimate is going to be used for Poseidon, and Kronos is going to fall. Poseidon is going to fall as well. Osiris uses the Lord of the Afterlife. Achilles trying to do anything and everything that he can. And it's just a little bit of a slugfest right now. There's a couple minion waves that are sitting right here. The blue minions are going to be working on this wave, and it looks like the Fatal Strike is going to come through, and the Titan actually does stop it. That's pretty interesting. I don't know if that's just a smart play from Siobhan, or if it was just luck. I'm willing to believe the latter. And this Titan still somehow stands with just a sliver of health. The red team is going to go ahead and reset here. Going to be a Frostbound Hammer pickup for the Achilles. Poseidon picking up a Spear of the Magus Frostbound Hammer coming out onto Osiris. Kronos hasn't been able to really do as much damage as in this game as it was in the last game. But we might be seeing a back door coming up here. But the problem is, you got a ward here. They're going to know that you're here. We see Kronos blinking in, is going to get sundered. And Kronos is going to use the ultimate on the back of the Poseidon ult, and it looks like the Titan is going to fall this time. It's going to be clear, cut, and dry. They're looking to just pick up another kill onto the Poseidon, and the red team is going to move forward here. Unfortunately for the blue team, they have been eliminated, so sorry for Zarzith and Siobhan that they had to suffer through this. But that means Flip Erickson and Romeo will be moving on into our next match, which will be coming up in just a moment. It'll be up against Torch and his partner Neamavu. I might be saying that wrong. Please don't yell at me. But with that being said, Live Me, take it away to the bracket. And welcome back to the live stream. So that was match number 12 in between Flip Erickson and Romeo versus Zarzith and Hopeless Minds. Unfortunately, Torch and Neamavu ended up forfeiting from the tournament, and so Flip Erickson and Romeo have received a bye in the losers round 3 bracket, and they will be moving on to face Miju and Destiny in the first match of the day, which will be happening here in about 15 minutes from what it looks like. The winner of that match will then go on to face Hayden and the Mighty Altrol in the losers finals, and this will be for who the winner will then move up to the upper bracket to face Hellerin and Yash. The winner will ultimately receive the prize and a title. Second place will receive a little bit of money, and third place will be receiving a little bit of money here as well.
Yo, thank you for the raid, ObsoleteWolf.
I hate that silence.
Woo-hoo. Indeed. That means it's almost time for the tourney to begin. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pause the music because guess what? We are in game! Welcome, everybody, to the very first game of today's 2v2 Joust Tournament Finals hosted by Unknown Gods. It's Jackal here with the cast as we take on a look at our lower bracket round 4 matchup. This is a best of 3 as we're waiting to see exactly what the picks and bans are going to be here for these teams. Don't forget, these teams here, they're hoping that it's going to be a long day for them. They have this best of 3 in front of them. They have another best of 3 afterwards in the lower bracket finals, and then one final best of 3 against the grand finals, where they're hoping to get a bracket reset to play another best of 3. So in total, 12 games potentially for one of these teams if all best of 3s go the distance of 3 games. So, having a look at the bans so far, some you would expect to see. The Sobek, I definitely think, is a very strong potential in the 2v2. Good amount of single target disruption, can really cause havoc when there's less numbers. The Aphrodite and the Guan Yu, no surprise to see them taken away as well. Gilgamesh can very easily win a 2v2 by himself. So those 4 bans I would expect to see constantly throughout today. We're also seeing taken away the Tiamat and the Morgan Le Fay. 2 high-profile mages in Conquest right now transitions quite well into Joust. I'm interested to see if Morgan does get through at some point today, though, considering how new she is. While the teams have been given time to adapt to her kit, to learn her properly, to get the best out of her, that has to be wait to be seen, but Tiamat, obviously incredibly strong. Just like Gilgamesh can essentially win a 2v2 by herself with her minions being able to push down some lanes. Granted, it is Joust, there's only that one lane, so a lot easier to manage up those giblets, but still, it's not something you really want to face on a daily basis, on a gamely basis. Achilles was the first lock in here by our Order side team. Achilles, that execute can come in extremely handily. The one thing that I don't like really about the Achilles in this mode is his cooldowns. His early game cooldowns, 15 seconds on that shield slam. That is, granted it does a huge amount of damage, but 15 seconds is far too long in my opinion for a cooldown at this level. You need to start rushing into that cooldown early on, maybe giving the blue buff early game to help offset it, but then you're sacrificing the blue buff cooldown for your mage. Persephone Cucullin can be the lock-in here from the Chaos side. Huge, strong AoE potential coming out here from their team. The 2v2, definitely in the early game, should go their way, but late game, you got to look out for this Chronos. This Chronos should start slapping, I would say, around the 17-20 minute mark if it does get to that point. So up until that point, you will have a look at Persephone and Cucullin to really take control of this matchup. You're having a look at them to start pushing down some towers early on, start winning these fights. it is gonna be a difficult matchup here for the Achilles and Kronos, but if they can get to that late game, if they can start to stem the tide just a little bit, and if they build optimally in the early game, maybe catch out Cucullin and Persephone off guard, they could still take this game. But for my money, right now, the early game and the draft does have to go over to the Persephone and Cucullin. I just think that comp is ridiculous right now, borderline criminal. I wouldn't like facing it, especially with how much damage Persephone does. You can set up with the Cucullin, Spear of Mortal Pain into the Grasp of Death, and that pretty much will guarantee that someone is going to die very quickly. Thankfully, we don't have to wait long to get into game here. Both these teams are going to be using the low spectator delay, which is what we like to see. Means we don't have to waffle on for 3 minutes or go back to our transition. So we're back onto the old corrupted Joust map, the one that is beautiful, pristine, and in my eyes, the best Joust map available. Just look at how gorgeous it is. Just look at how open it can be. Look at how closed off it can be as well at the same time. We're in for a treat here in this 2v2 tournament. Starting off with the builds, we're looking like it's going to be a War Flag starting off from Joregi. And Escanor, still waiting to see what exactly he builds. He's going to go for the beads. I don't put that past him. The beads are absolutely necessary to get out of Persephone's Grasp of Death and to help stave off the Cucullin. But going into Tier 2 of the Rod Tahuti is what I imagine it's going to be built into here. Very early Rod Tahuti rush gives him a lot of power behind those basic attacks, but I'm not sure this is the correct play. We'll have to see if it is going to be what is built. I'm going to see just how effective it will be. But overall, the lack of a Star Triton will hurt these two in the early game. Both teams starting off at their speed buff and going over to the blue buff now. Speed buff given over to the Achilles, speed buff given over to the Cucullin, so mages will pick up these blues. Bluestone Pendant was the starter item of choice from Suboptimal, along with the Vampiric Shroud from not Synaptic. They want this early game. They want to fight in this early game. They want to try and push them out a bit early, but already good aggression from the Achilles and Kronos puts them at an advantage. Just not respecting the amount of burst that can come out from this composition. Yes, it's a 15-second cooldown on that shield bash, but 15 seconds trades out for a lot of damage, as I was saying, and that's going to be followed up by the Kronos' stop time and time rift. Oh, Cucullin's tanking minions. He's tanking a bit too much damage from those minions. Good stuff from Achilles puts him in a bit of an awkward situation as he has to back off, back underneath the tower, and already a little bit of an upset here as blue team find themselves in the driving seat. Already claimed those contestable little camp on that left-hand side, stealing away the ones on the right here, potentially. Looking for the Cucullin yet again. They're going to leap over, but not leap over the stun successfully. One more shot should do it. No, the heal is just too good. It was the meditation deck went off from Cucullin that saved his life there. The ticks just about putting him over the threshold for execution from those dash damages from the Achilles. Persephone just clearing the wave now. Hits level 5, Cucullin, the only one on the map not level 5 already. And that's going to be a huge detriment to them going into this red buff fight. 15 seconds left on the red buff spawn. And Escanor and Joregi are going to be going straight towards it the second they clear this wave. Persephone backs, going to forfeit this wave, going to forfeit the red buff as it seems. Is waiting in base for what seemed like an eternity just to pick up the enhanced artifact here. Restored artifact, my apologies. So that is going to be red buff potentially secured here already for the Kronos Achilles combination. Contest is going to come from Persephone and Cucullin. Shield bash is good. The shield slam is going to be good. As down goes the red buff Achilles, going to be picking that one up. So more damage afforded to this Achilles should spell a bit more disaster here for the Cucullin as he leaps away just in the nick of time. Those of you that don't know, if you are in the process of being stunned by, say, a Kronos stop time, and you start to leap, you will teleport forward if you time it at just the right time. Because you're getting stunned mid-air, and it will just follow through to you for where you will aim to be. Kronos force put the rewind as out comes the Grasp of Death. It's definitely going to go away back to the tower, and Cucullin going to be using that War Cry just to try and create some bit more disruption. does get the execute out of Achilles. That's all 4 ultimates used in this one engagement. Cucullin and Persephone are going to go aggressive here. They're going to look for this blue buff and try and claw some of this lead away from the blue team. Which is not good. There goes the shield bash over the wall. The Time Rift does secure the blue buff for his own team. Just about avoids the bone rush there, does Achilles, as he gets himself out of danger. But good defense from the blue side has made sure that they keep this lead at about 400 gold. Chalice is brought up across the board. The Road to Duty is finished for Escanor, so it is going to be that early pen item rush. It is a massive big ticket item for a Kronos, this Road to Duty. It gives him a huge bunch of power, 140, gives him a bit more of the targets underneath that health threshold. And it scales with his basic attacks. It feeds into his base attacks a little bit more, which is why you are going to be seeing Kronos build into this almost instantaneously. Every single time you see a Kronos, they're going to be building this Road to Duty because of the fact it synergizes so well with his basic attacks. Meanwhile, or conversely, Achilles is going to be finishing up the Gauntlet, but Kronos is left all by himself. Spirit Wall of Pain comes out. The stun on Persephone is good, but about to transform into that Warcry. Oh, but it's just a bit too much damage from that time. Cucullin has to back off, even though he's in that big guy form. Shield Slam is not going to do enough damage there, or not even going to stun the Cucullin, so he's forced to back off. Meditation is back up for him, which is able to sustain up in these fights if so it needs to. As the Kronos coming in again, looking for a target. Does indeed hit. That stop time. Time Rift as well is good. Meditation held onto there by the Cucullin. Yeah, looks like it was indeed held onto. But with that poke, the rep buff should be absolutely free here once again. Just going through with the lead once more on the blue side. We're opening up a little bit more. If we have a look at the graphs, you can see that experience difference is starting to climb. The gold difference is starting to climb. It's plateaued a little bit at that 400 gold mark. That's because the red side have come back into things just a little bit more. They have managed to secure some of the contestable farm. They've put pressure onto the blue team a little bit more so they can't invade and extend their lead even further. And it's good for them. They needed this reset. Because going into the game, they must have felt confident with the composition they got. The Cucullin and the Persephone, 2 great picks side by side. But then just to immediately lose pressure on the first wave to this Kronos and to this Achilles, sort of would have put them at a little bit of a shock to the system. Just calming things down, making sure that they have some time to farm up a little bit. Get to this mid-game point, get the Kronos Pendant online for the Persephone, get this Gauntlet Thief stacked up for the Cucullin. This is a good time for them to do just that. Get that mental reset, get that game reset, and put a slowdown to this potential snowball that's coming out from the blue side. Pushing up now, pushing up the waves. See, gonna go back ahead and go for their blue buff. Very methodical game here for the two teams, just waiting for potentials to invade, and that's exactly what they're going to do over here on the blue side. They're looking for the fight, but Persephone's ward over the wall is going to catch out the potential fight here. Cucullin's going to use the Spirit Wall to Pain as CC immunity to avoid that stun from the stop time. And just for that one ward, stops the invade from happening and allows them to secure their own blue buff successfully. Flip side is that they are going to have to give up this mid-camp. Goes all to Joregi himself. Wingblade. Finish up for Escanor on this Kronos. I like this pickup. If you have a look at the side on the red side, they do have a little bit of a slow on the Cucullin. Just making sure that he's able to get away from that when he trembles. It means he's going to be able to... There it is, the Wingblade should be proc... No, I assume that was a slow, but... I assume that's not anymore. Either way, it gives him some magical defense, gives him some health. And just means that he is a bit more difficult to lock down. Red buff is going to be contested here this time by the red team. But it's just not possible for them. The Time Rift is doing too much damage. It goes off too quickly for them to really react and secure. Persephone down about half health, has to stay a bit further back. As in aggressive goes Escanor. Once again, stop time off the mark, so Time Rift is going to be off the mark as well. Achilles' shield bash going to be immune by both leaps there. As Bone Rush comes out to clear the minions. A little bit of ankle biters just making their way down the lane. Stopping the Chronos back. Cullen's not going to let the Chronos back there that easily. But Achilles still around. They're going to think better about engaging on that 5 volley. Just stop him from backing, annoy him a little bit. Just take the edge off their pace. Gauntlet fully stacked for Jaregi, meaning you can start killing those minions again. Same can be said for Suboptimal 22 on this Cullen. Still needs 6 more stacks before that item is fully built up. It'll be interesting to see what he does build into afterwards. Having a look at the side of Jaregi, who's built into a bit of magical defense now, going in for the Talisman of Energy. Synergizes as well with his partner Chronos. I imagine it's going to be something somewhat similar over here for Suboptimal. It's going to go into some form of magical defense to help deal with this Chronos. Something to help synergize with the Persephone a little bit, potentially. You could be looking at a... could be looking at an Oni Hunters. You could be looking at a Genji's just to try and get a bit more cooldown reduction around him. You could go into a Bulwark of Hope. Alternatively, I think what's going to happen is that he's going to go into a Heartwater Amulet. Just give some extra protections to Persephone. Tower damage is not the end of the game. It's just looking for the fight, looking for the poke, looking for a potential kill. But no dice. Again, just poke. Poke, poke, poke. That's all they can do right now. It's doing a good job of defending this tier 2 tower. It's tier 1 tower even. This is Synaptic. It's definitely going to get caught out there. Beads are still available. Good relic usage to just hold on to those beads. So recognizing that he was going to be able to live through the combo. Jackal was just around the corner to help force them out. Stop time is going to be missed. The time rift is going to be good, but Chronos is going to fall down. He doesn't have his ultimate available. Beads were used already earlier. Achilles going to be chased down here by Cullen. Spirit Wall of Pain is up. They could have chased that down a little bit further, but first blood goes the way of the red team against the run of play, against the rub of the green there, you would say if you're a fan of the blue side. But tier 1 tower being looked at. Achilles is still going to do his best to try and defend, try and kill some of his minions. Definitely unable to get the combo off, but there goes the ankle biter. Spirit Mortal Pain gets the deicide. Jaregi just a bit too over-aggressive in that defense, and that's going to cost him his life, going to cost him the rest of this tower. It was going to fall down anyway. That's 2 kills now to the red team, who, if you have a look at these graphs, have turned it around completely in their favor. Just all of a sudden, from one mistake by the blue team, I managed to find themselves 2 kills, a tower to the good, and have found themselves in the driving seats of this game. But it's not all doom and gloom. Over on the blue side, they still do have that Chronos. They still have the ability to come back into this late game. The Sunder has been built up by Jaregi, as has it built up by Suboptimal, so I'm looking at both of these front lines to be a lot more aggressive in their pursuits of trying to kill the enemy mage. Blue buff going to be taken away. Speed buff as well. Left-hand side, it could be an attempt at the Demon King here. No, Persephone was just going over there to check to see if the Demon King was being taken by Escanor or Jaregi, because they weren't on the map for a certain amount of time. You can see that it's not being taken off, and just over to the mid lane again. Wave cleared. And going back to the back camps, just to make sure they're cleared off the map. Chronos and Achilles combining up in mid lane again. As we take a peek again at these builds. Escanor going into the Telkine's ring, just to make sure that he can have a bit more oomph behind those basic attacks. His abilities are already hitting quite hard. His abilities are already hitting at a monumental amount. So he needs to start backing up with some basic attacks. He needs to start backing up with some attack speed, and this is the item to do just that. I imagine it's going to be one more ring in this build. The rest going to be more priority towards ability-based damage, just to get a good mix of the two. Frostbound Hammer is definitely the item of choice over there into Blinky. The mid lane Persephone forced to leap away. Gonna use the beat to try and get away from this onslaught. Out comes the Grasp of Death. Forced Chronos into a rewind. Achilles just gonna clear those plants away from the mid lane. Jackal gonna transform now though. Chronos going very aggressive without really causes Warcry is going to be good, but just not enough to take him down. That speed buff going to get him away in the nick of time. The Wing Blade proc as well. It's going to be just enough to get him out of danger. But there's the route by Jackal. Once more Persephone going aggressive. There are the plants just running away the wrong way, though, if you are a fan of the red team. As Phoenix as being looked at here. Down goes a few minutes. Persephone going to be forced to leap away. Execute comes out just to try and keep the distance, keep this chase going. But hey, look at the Chronos swing. Forces the Aegis out of the Persephone. But now with how low Achilles is, has to turn tail and runs. Jackal pulling under pressure. Spirit Mortal Pain is not up. That's going to be up in, well, we'll have a check now which it's up in. It's about 46 seconds for that ability, so just has to wait that one out. Phoenix down to about 80% health. Chronos down to even less than that. Grasp of Death, it does hit, and down comes the root. Escanor falls down once again. Sniper elite from the Persephone gets the killer. Could even break down this Phoenix. Blue buff has to be taken away in time because they have to wait for these minions. They have to wait for these minions because they just don't have the health bars. They don't have the protections to tank this Phoenix and take it down. Achilles doing a good job this time of focusing on the minions, not looking for the fight. Means that he does indeed save his Phoenix. Persephone forced to back away. Cullen already a bit too low to continue off this engagement. Has to back off. But Achilles isn't going to let this go lightly. If he gets enraged to start basic attacking, this could spell trouble for the Cullen. Let's not forget, he's got that Frostbound Hammer, so we'll stick to him. Spirit Mortal Pain used. It did come back off cooldown, immediately off cooldown, just to get away from this Achilles and stop this mosquito that's flying around him. One charge of Sunder, back up in 5 for both supports. I want to touch on a little bit of another thing here. The sledge being built up here by Suboptimal. It's an item which I definitely think deserves a lot more love, deserves a lot more attention, because it's not an item that's particularly built up, despite the fact it's really strong in this meta, I feel. You know, have a look at the stats. It's got 40 power, it's got 250 health, 150 mana, 20% ground control reduction is a big thing as well. And you gain some protections for it. It gives pretty much everything a solo laner would want. Persephone gonna avoid that stop time, gonna fire back with the Grasp of Death. Out comes the rewind once again. But Persephone taking a lot of damage from the Achilles here. Execute just to close the distance once again. Good sustain here coming from the Soul Gem from the Persephone, but just too much peel from the Cullen. Out comes the Warcry, because I think he thought Kronos was going to use the stop time just to try and peel, but that ability is still up and available for him. Spots Achilles trying to back in the jungle, just no dice for him though. Looks like a good start for the blue team, but the red side have come back strong. They find themselves 3 kills to the good as we approach the 16-minute mark, and this was the sort of time frame I said in the picks and bans that they should be looking to end in. Simply because the Chronos can start to come online from this point with his 3rd or 4th item, maybe the 5th item. The tides can turn again. He's going to get more powerful as the game goes on, not just because of the items that he builds up, not because he's getting levels, but because of his passive as well. Don't forget, Chronos' passive will give you an extra amount of power for every 2 minutes in the game that's gone. So don't think, so if you are fighting up for Chronos, if you are fighting up against them, you need to make sure that you end the game quickly. It stacks up 25 times, so you have to wait 50 whole minutes before you have a full passive as Chronos. But just that extra little bit of power can really make the difference. Chronos blinking in once again. It seems to me that Chronos is the engager of these two teams. Sunders have come under. Escanor! Where did he go? He's just gone instantly. Jareki's gone as well. Chronos just dies in the blink of an eye. Didn't even have a chance to get his beats off. Didn't even have a chance to get a rewind off because it's still on cooldown. Phoenix is going to fall down here. And with a respawn time, this could even be the game. The first game could go the way here of the red side. As a team flip find themselves 1 game to the good in this best of 3 and find themselves in a commanding position with a dominating performance here. 5 kills to 0. Absolute devastation here. And there we go. The game has been won by the red side. Congratulations to Flip as they find themselves 1-0 up. We're going to go to a short break as we wait to see what this next game has in store for us. Don't forget to stick around as we'll see you after this break. Alright, everyone, welcome back as we have game number 2 in this best of 3 on the lower round 4 matchup between Meiju and Flip. Meiju find themselves 1-0 up, so Flip need to find themselves 2 games on the bounce to continue in this tournament. If they lose this next game, or even the game after, they are completely out. Don't forget, there's only 1 loss you can take, and both these teams have already found a loss throughout the tournament. So, bans coming out. It looks like it's going to be a slightly different set of bans so far. Guan Yu Aphrodite still up. Tiamat has been taken away, as is Gilgamesh and Sobek. Same 3 as we've seen before in the last game, but 2 new bans have shown their face, the Sol and the Persephone. Take away the Persephone. Certainly was a thorn in the side of Flip in the last game, but just being able to pilot it very well was Synaptic, managing to find himself some absolutely insane snipes, especially that one underneath the Phoenix, just to help him and help his team get through to a W. Aphrodite going to be taken off the table, as well as the teams have 1 more ban each. Osiris was banned at this stage as well. Guan Yu is still on the table. Chang'e is going to be taken off. So there's going to be a possibility that we see either Osiris or Guan Yu, or even both, make it through this picks and bans. And if I'm Synaptic, if I'm Meiju, I'm thinking, which one do we take? Which one is the side that we want to see have that warrior? Still deciding on which ban is most optimal here. Do they let through one? Do they let through both? Question is, if they let through both, which one does Synaptic and Suboptimal pick up? I would be saying that they would pick up the Guan Yu, simply because the proc red and the protection gain on the Guan Yu is extremely strong. The Cullen is going to be taken off the table and elected to go for neither of the Osiris or the Guan Yu. The Achilles has been reprised. It's going to be taken away, from Jaregi. Seems that we have a little bit of a meta establishing that Achilles is the desired and most favoured warrior. We'll see if that reigns true throughout the rest of today. But over to Jaregi and Escanor. These are important. These are vital picks for them to determine if they stay in this tournament or not. They have to get this right. Give themselves the best chance possible. Morgan Le Fay. God, that we haven't seen much of. I did point out last game that because we haven't seen a lot of her, it'll be a test to see if teams have got the practice with her, if teams are comfortable with her, and it could very well be that Escanor just isn't feeling up to it right now. So going for a more comfortable, more easy option with the Raijin, I don't blame him. I think Raijin's in a fantastic space right now, so I would not be surprised to see this one be locked in. The Osiris is taken up, Guan Yu neglected here for both teams, as 1 pick remains. So Optimal could go in for the Morgan Le Fay himself, could go in for something completely different, could look for a Scylla, could look for a Morgan. I don't know what he's going to be able to take. The Hebo is still a possibility as well, with the Raijin and Osiris wanting to get in close. Having that close range god as well on your side could be very beneficial to you. All remains to be seen in exactly when it wants to be picked up here. Thoth could very well be on the table as well. It looks like it might be the god of randomness, Baba Yaga, going to be taken up here. Synaptic going to be piloting it. Suboptimal going to switch from the Cucullin to the Achilles in this game, because his Cucullin was banned out. Persephone banned out as well, which is why seeing Synaptic and Suboptimal going for a brand new draft. Meanwhile, Drake and Escanor, they felt like their draft, whilst it was good, mostly didn't work. They've given up the Achilles for the opposition, but they have taken on the Osiris, which was banned away in the last game. They have taken on a Raijin as well, just for that traditional mage damage. We'll see if this pays off for them as we wait to head into game. So if I had to put my money on one of these teams, I would say I kind of fancy the Baba Yaga Achilles more than I do the Raijin Osiris. I think the health shield granted by the house, the extra healing that you get from the house, the stacks that you can get from the house, means that you can build into the more traditional mage builds we are seeing with the Warlock staff. You can just build into that a lot more easy as the Baba Yaga. And it just means you're much more difficult to deal with, much more difficult to kill. So I honestly do think Meiju have this game down for themselves. They've got themselves a really nice draft for it, and they could very well just take this in a 2-0. Meditation picked up here by Suboptimal. Synaptic, it looks like we'll be going into that Warlock staff, just going in for a starter item first, so can only get tier 1 staff. Meanwhile, on the opposite side, Warflag picked up as well on Reggie. Both mages opting to go in for the Vampiric Shroud, to give them some sustain, some defense against the minions, some physical protections as well against the opposition's warrior. Now, I like to start that Escanor's done there. He's over the wall, so he's making sure that he's able to get to this blue buff in time. Start up just a little bit earlier. Gets himself just 1 minion extra. This should help them with their clear speed. Gets them the blue buff just a little bit quicker than the side of Meiju, as they find themselves in lane just a little bit faster. As we see what they do, but they're out. Goes the shield bash, stops any clear coming out for the Raijin, but they're not looking for the clear, they're looking for the fight. So Cyrus taking a fair bit of damage as well, as both warriors feeling the brunt of what's happened. One of the positive aspects about this Baba Yaga is her ability to fire out random shaped abilities with the 1, random effect potions with the 2, but that can also be a little bit of a hindrance, as you saw in that initial engagement. Raijin dashing in, that's very brave of him. Leaping back away is Baba Yaga. They just don't have the burst to deal with a Raijin jumping into their faces right now. So I believe that's why he is doing so. They know they're not level 5. They know they don't have that Witchfire ultimate to come from Baba Yaga. So it makes sense that he's just diving in aggressively, looking to play as aggressive as possible in the early game. The second they hit level 5, it's a different story. You don't see this aggressive dashes in. You don't see this aggressive fight. Meditation has had to be popped by the Achilles to get himself back into the safety of his tower. As it's a bit of a different story from last game. As Flip... Fine. Well, sorry, it's the exact same story as last game. Flip find themselves on the front foot in the early game. Haven't been able to make it work just yet. Gonna be a little bit of deja vu. Meiju, well, hoping that it's gonna be a little bit of deja vu as they play a little bit defensive to begin with. Wait until they hit 5. Wait until they manage to get some items online, I would imagine, before going for the jugular. Grab buff gonna be taken away there. Osiris securing that with the Spirit Flail. It's gonna be picking that up himself. Yeah, well, so having a look at the blue buff, realize he's not gonna spawn yet, so just minions to take care of. Shield Bash not gonna be able to stop the Custom Storm. He's just forced to back away. How comes the Which? What? That is a... Hello? That has to be a misclick. That absolutely has to be a misclick from Synaptic there. Hits level 5, immediately goes into the ultimate. There we go. There's going to be a pause coming out from the team. That was a weird one to me. That was a very weird one to me, because It has to have been a misclick. 100% was a misclick. They weren't going to take any opportunity to fight there because the side of Flip was just backed off a bit too much. Don't really get much pressure from it. They were backing off for their speed buff anyway. But that is a bad misclick for Side of Meiju, and defending with the Taiko drums over the wall is Escanor. They're really looking to try and defend this buff, but picking it up is Meiju. Good buff steal, good successful steal, so Mage Ultimate for Mage Ultimate in a non-impactful way. It's a bit of a sigh of relief if you're Synaptic at that point. Oh, back off, going to secure their own farm, going to secure their own blue buff at this point. Could get this one over to the Achilles, but I imagine this one's going to go to Baba Yaga as well. No, they're both going to pick up a blue buff. Very easy. Okay. So that means the speed buff could be staying up for a long, long time. I wanted to come over and I wanted to take down the speed buff, just so they can get the cooldown off of it, get the farm from it, and yes, that's exactly what they're doing. is what's been needed. There we go, down it goes. Flip find themselves with a very slender gold lead. Having a look at the graphs, it's at about 180, 200. Experience difference roughly the same. Just slow, steady. It's what it was in the last game, but it cost them the fact that just too much damage came online from the side of Meiju. Yaga getting interrupted from her dash. Achilles dashing in aggressively onto the right. And it almost feels like one side has amplified damage to the order of 10, and the other side has the negative damage, almost. Meiju just aren't pumping out anything right now onto the right on the Osiris to make them back off. Conversely, everything that Flip are doing seems to be turning into gold, and it could be something to do with the builds. Look at side of Meiju. That is going to be that warlock stuff like I was talking about earlier on the Baba Yaga. Will stack that up quite quickly, but still needs those stacks to be able to make this an impactful item. Similarly, you do need the stacks on the Gauntlet of Thieves to make an impactful item defensively. Now if you look at the side of Flip, they've got that War Flag for that early game aggression to try and offset the loss of power that you'd go by going into a Gauntlet rather than going into something like a Shifted Shield. And then Escanor, already with 2 lifesteal items in his build, with the Vampiric Shroud as one, and the Pythax piece as his second item. It's not an item we see too much, so we're just going to quickly go over exactly what it does. It gives you a total of 40 magical power, 200 health, 12% physical magical lifesteal, and 10% magical penetration. Now the aura is where this item becomes interesting, because that 40 magical power and that 12% magical lifesteal is deceptive. As you can see in the passive, it gives mages 12% lifesteal and 30 increase of their power. If they're physical, they gain a increase of 20 power and 10% lifesteal. You get this aura yourself, so as a mage, this item will actually give you 70 magical power, 200 health, 24% magical lifesteal, and 10% magical penetration. It is a bloated item, and people just don't really recognize it because they see that 40 power and go, oh, it's not that much. It's not something that I want to build. I don't want to build 40 power. I want to build 90 power items. I want to build 85 power items. I want to build 140 power items. Right, your forces of Psycho Drums quite early. Now comes the home sweet home. Witchfire is going to come out very soon, being flung underneath the tower. Raijin standing a bit too close to the sun. One more tick should do it. No, it's just going to be able to get away. The Witchfire fizzles out, as barely escaping with his life as Escanor. Some tower damage will come out because of it, only from the minions, as both Synaptic and Suboptimal decide to back off to the base. That little bit of extra health that he had was the difference between life and death there for Escanor. But let that be a lesson to you, everybody. Just because you're sat underneath your tower does not mean it's safe. You need to make sure you play defensively correctly. If you have to back off further than your tower, make sure you do so. Red buff taken here. Greggy is going to be the recipient of it. As Meiju still keeping that gold lead relevant, still keeping side of Flip within touching distance of that lead. Level 10's all-round Warlock Staff already stacked up by the Baba Yaga. Expected nothing less with that house providing quite a fair bit of them, I would say. Potions stored up in the consumable slot. Synaptic, we're waiting for Suboptimal to provide a good stun, after which out comes 2 potions, as well as the random witchcraft, and all of a sudden that person's dead. The first blood goes the way of Meiju. Well, conversely, stun goes well. Damage from Baba Yaga doesn't come out because it was the wrong shape ability, or it's the wrong effect on it. That could easily turn into a Flip getting first blood situation. This tie delicately poised right now with Meiju sitting 1-0 up overall in the slow racket round 4 matchup. 9 minutes on the clock, still 0-0, as the towers look like it's telling one story, the pressure telling another, and the graphs telling a third one altogether. meditation down for 27 seconds for suboptimal. I imagine they want to wait for Achilles to have his meditation back up before they look to go in the fight. Off the base, Achilles going to have his back interrupted by a little bit of aggression, a little bit of overextension from Flip. So going in aggressively. He's not afraid to fight. He's not shy of going in for these fights. Not shy of taking a lot of poke on himself. Well, doesn't even need to pop the meditation. Doesn't need to use his ultimate in defense. Just all calm, all smiles here from Meiju. So poking back here just a little bit. It's good wicked witchcraft there from Baba Yaga. Out comes a little bit of a leap. Oh, Raijin stepped into place. This should be a house. This could be first blood here on top of the Raijin. His leap is still going to be down once he comes back out of that ult of his. One more minute of damage should do it, and there is the execute from Suboptimal. Gets Escanor, and that is first blood yet again to Meiju. It's Deja Vu all over again. Flip on the front foot for the first 10 minutes or so of the game. And one mistake is all it takes. And again, it's Escanor, the one that dies for first blood. This time though, Dragi's thinking a little bit differently about how he wants to approach a defense. Doesn't want to go full on aggressive. Doesn't want to just sacrifice his life for absolutely no reason. Tower still stands after just that one kill. But if you're on the side of Flip, it's still absolutely fine. Yes, you gave up first blood. Yes, the lead has flipped, over to Meiju, but that's fine. You don't care about the lead at 11 minutes. You care about the lead in the final minute. Who's winning in the final minute? It's us? Okay, we've won the game then. That's all we need to know. Thank you very much. We don't care who wins in 10 minutes. We don't care who wins the 12th minute. We don't care who wins this first fight. We just care who wins the last fight. That's what you're going to be thinking of if you are Flip. Yes, it's not gone your way so far. You just have to suck it up and let the fight continue. Let the game continue. Dashing in again is the Achilles. Baba Yaga just providing some support. Make sure that Achilles doesn't get aggressed on too much. Leaping in place is the Raijin yet again. It's not really good for him to just leap in place consistently to interrupt that leap from Baba Yaga. There it is. Synaptic picks up the kill once again, diving underneath the tower. Baba Yaga needs to help out his Achilles, so... Oh, but it's the Gosio Cyrus Sword of the Afterlife used because he was in that execute range. The Achilles putting on a lot of pressure just by having that ultimate of his available. And now this tower should fall down. Once again, Escanor falls. I don't want to see him leap in place again. Yes, you want to stop the blast off coming out from Baba Yaga, but you don't want to do it at the expense of your own dash and therefore your own life. There's a reason that Synaptic is doing it so tantalizingly close to Escanor. It's almost baiting him, wishing on him to leap in there to stop that blast off. Because the second that Thunder crashes down, they know that they are full license to go all in on him. Tower down, Meiju opening himself up 1,000 gold in the lead. A little bit of an experience differential as well. Warriors about even, but the Mage's 2-level disparity is not Synaptic has found himself with one of the kills, an assist. Meanwhile, Escanor, 2 deaths. Raijin gonna get stunned out again. The oval comes out, it silences the dash in again from Raijin on the spot once more. It's just not working out here for Flip. The conversation needs to be had. He needs to stop leaping in place. He needs to leap away from the danger. He needs to utilize the fact that he is a Raijin and can do most of his damage from a distance. Demon King, meanwhile, can be taken as Meiju put themselves in a strong position to end this very quickly in a 2-0 fashion. He's tanking up as much as possible. Baba Yaga is there to provide some bit more damage. Dragi he's not coming over for this. He's not even looking at contesting. And I think that's a smart play. If he comes over to contest, best case scenario, he steals it and then dies. Worst case scenario is he dies. And then the game's pretty much over from that point because Escanor can't defend by himself. So with the Phoenix disabled, you can imagine that the play from Major here is going to be to just rush in, take down this Phoenix, take down this game. For those of you that are just joining us, welcome to the Unknown Gods 2v2 Joust Tournament Finals. This is our first match of 3 of the day. It's the lower bracket round 4 matchup of Meiju versus Flip, best of 3. Meiju taking the first game in very commanding circumstances, and looking like they're going to do the same here. A clean sweep would be fantastic way to start their day, considering they need to play 3 games if they are going, maybe even need to play 3 sets, possibly a set reset in that final as well. Baba Yaga blinks in and Synaptic picks up a kill yet again. Escanor 4 deaths to his name. I was going to say with Jareggi, who's just lived throughout all of this, just watching his partner die once again. And there's not much he can do. This is one of the problems of having an Osiris as your frontline, is that he's great at killing the opposing mage, he's great at killing an opposing hunter, but his CC is lacking. His CC is just non-existent. His peel is just not there. And just utilizing that fact beautifully is Meiju as they find themselves taking down this Phoenix again. Escanor spawns up in 8. I don't think it matters. I think Meiju find themselves as 2-0 victors here in our lower bracket round 4 matchup. Escanor has to do something about this. He has to come up with a big play here to try and save this game. And his play could involve in the fact that he's going to Sunder. He misses the shot though. Sunder isn't going to be effective. Daigo drums come out. All 3 shots do hit. 1 did miss. Raijin is going to beat very early on in this again, just to avoid some damage rather than avoiding any form of CC. Down he falls, but he has saved the Titan. That is the important thing, is the fact that the Titan is still available, is still alive, and Flip are still in this game. Lord, the Afterlife used by Osiris to try and chase down this Baba Yaga, just standing on that slow just to try and get away, but Jareggi finally puts a stop to the onslaught of Meiju. Finally, the first kill in 2 games for the side of Flip is on the board. The Osiris picking one up for the squad. That's going to slow them down just a little bit. Meiju, they have the 5 minions, they have the Phoenix down already. Demon King's going to spawn up very shortly. I'm waiting to see just how this next few minutes pans out. Dragon needs to just keep on clearing this fire minions. They can't go anywhere else other than the lane, because the second a single fire wave goes into that Titan, it's probably going to die. It's just having to almost nurture and nurse this mid lane on the side of Flip. They have to stay back, they have to stay defensive. They take a fight outside of the base, they take a fight outside of the Phoenix. It could spell disaster for them. They need to ward up, they need to make sure they know exactly where everyone's coming from. They need to push up this mid wave, at least at a halfway point, give themselves some breathing room in some of these fights. Relic update, as we see that Sunders have been upgraded on 2 people. Both the frontliners of Draghi and ObsoleteWolf have decided to get that a relic upgrade. Meanwhile, Escanor still has yet to upgrade his. He needs to start building on some of these items. He needs to make sure that he finishes his build. He needs to make sure that he gets himself into some defense, which he is doing now. Otherwise, it's just not going to be worth it. Even if he upgrades that center, it's just not going to do too much. Raijin taking a fair bit of damage there. Baba Yaga going aggressive once again. The Blastoff going to get himself into position to try and get Nexus. Raijin, there goes the Thunderclap to get him away. But this time, Jareggi picks up Synaptic. And Achilles is the one to be forced to play defensively. This was a good change of pace from Flip. This time, Escanor holds onto his Thunder Crash. Much more patient play, and it pays off for them as they find themselves in a potential turnaround here. In execute range is the Osiris. Dashing it aggressively is Raijin. Forced to use that execute defensively, though, is suboptimal. As Mid Phoenix has respawned, it is a perfectly timed fight. It's a perfectly timed change of pace from Flip as they go 2 kills unanswered now. There it is. Mid tower does fall. Phoenix is still going to stand, so a Phoenix piece still up. One of which is a weakened Phoenix, though, so advantage still has to go to Meiju. If they get this next fight win, it doesn't matter if it's all the way down at the side of their base. They will still run up that lane, take down that Phoenix extremely quickly, and win. If you're on the side of Major, you have to realize that that fight was born out of just assuming assuming all the fights just go the same way. Bit of a wraparound here. Osiris blinks in, out comes the Raiju, and the Thunder Crash in. Baba Yaga gonna blink away! Manages to blink away and avoids the damage coming out from the Raiju, but Raijin just crashed on instantly. Bit too aggressive, bit too greedy there to try and kill the Baba Yaga. And I was praising him before, I was saying how refreshing it was to see their change of pace, to see the change of tactics come out. But it's going to be all for naught as Synaptic picks up a double kill. I said it doesn't matter where they fought, I said it doesn't matter where the win takes place. They could just run up mid, they could take the game, and it's going to be exactly what they do. Meiju, in 20 minutes this game, will take game number 2 and find themselves advancing to the lower bracket finals. It's just a bit of a formality here. Escalon's up in 18. Without the Taiko drums, without much really to go on, he's not even gonna spawn in time. This is over. Congratulations to Major. Commiserations to Flip as they find themselves crashing out of this tourney in the finals day. No, they've been great competitors, they've been great sports, so thank you so much for them for coming out and supporting Unknown Gods in this tournament. Meiju, moving on. No. That's going to do it for us for the lower bracket round 4. We're going to take another short break as we set up our next matchup, which is the lower bracket grand finals. We'll see you guys later. Alright, welcome back everybody. Sorry for the long wait, we're just waiting for the game to get set up, and lo and behold, it has been. We're set up. We're all ready to go for our lower bracket grand finals best of 3 between Meiju and Hayden. Meiju coming through with that round 4 matchup with ease, only dying twice throughout their best of 3 in that final game. But now they're coming up against a bit more sterner opposition. Mighty Altrol Fire Elementals making up the Team Hayden side as they start the game off. They start the bands off with the Aphrodite and Guan Yu combination. Raijin being taken off the table. Not super sure about the Raijin. Didn't see a huge performance from it in the last game, but most likely has been a pick throughout the tournament that has done quite well, similarly to the Achilles, which has been let through here. Could see a pickup here from Mighty Altrol of the Achilles early on. Certainly wouldn't surprise me if it is picked up. Meanwhile, other bands, Soul taken off the table on the flip side. For Meiju, we see the Gilgamesh, the Tiamat, the 2 Babylonians taken off the table straight away. Don't want to see them. The Persephone, as well as the On Her. Don't forget, Morgan Le Fay is also competitively banned from this tournament completely. So that's, in essence, 9 gods taken off the table at the start of the game. Still deciding exactly what it is they would like to play here on the side of Hayden. While for this decision, need to go into quite a lot of their bank time, but they know that getting this first pick correct could mean the difference between a strong draft and a weak draft, especially when compared to what Synaptic and Solwart will pick up for their side, as they have the opportunity to counterpick this very first pick. Set is going to be the option selected. Didn't see a lot of Set before. Set certainly has gone down in my estimations because of the fact that loads of hunters these days are building into a Kaival, they're building into an early game anti-attack speed item. But no hunters selected here, no basic attack base god selected for the side of Meiju. In fact, it's going to be the Upwash and Circuit combination. Look to just keep people locked down into that Corpse Explosion combo, but with Set being able to teleport away if he uses that beads, it could be difficult to lock him down. Agni could also be an option here to get away from the Circuit a little bit. I think it does quite well as a Circuit. I think Agni is criminally underrated mage right now because of the fact that he can build into quite a fair bit of damage and tankiness very easily. He can even build one item pure defense and still put out the same amount of damage as pretty much most other mages in the game, and that is going to be the lock-in here for Hayden, completing their draft. The Agni Set versus the Circuit Upwash. 2 assassins, 2 mages on the map. We'll see how this one pans out when we get into game shortly. The big thing is Arpwash, king of anti-heal, going up against Set, who would like to heal pretty much every single time he's in that Kingslayer ultimate. Is it going to be enough to help stem the tide from the Kingslayer himself? Will remain to be seeing that when we jump into game in just a short minute. Welcome everybody to the lower bracket grand finals. We're finally going to get underway as Hayden versus Meiju takes place. Serket versus Set, Arpwash versus Agni. It all comes down to this for these teams to get a good start in the lower bracket to put themselves onto the path for the grand finals. But don't forget, it's not going to be easy for them because awaiting them in the grand finals is going to be the Hell team. You don't want to go up against them on a bad day. You want to be on your top game to be able to take them down. And that starts here. Getting some good practice, getting some warm-up, making sure you are fresh for that set is going to help you to potentially take down the upper bracket winners. Well, both teams going to start speed, but in fact, Mighty Altrol going to be late to the buff here. This is going to cause some time issues over on the side of Hayden. In terms of getting to lane, they're going to have to forfeit the pressure on the first wave, almost guaranteed. Well, that was pretty much always going to happen, though. When you have an Arpwash and a Serket on the other team, it's going to be very quickly. It's going to be very quick, for them to clear out those buffs and get to lane. Interesting to note is the fact that Suboptimal has gone in for a Bomber's Dagger. Most likely going to be going into Bomber's Hammer in the late game just to give himself a lot of cooldown reduction. And cooldown resets just to be able to spam out that one. Potentially heal himself up a lot from the set standing on top of him. Alternatively, just spam out those abilities, spam out the corpse explosion on top of it, just to make sure he gets a lot of damage off and can almost kill the set before the set kills him. It is a DPS race between the set and the Arpwash. That is going to be key here. Who kills who first? Obviously, you have the Serket and you have the Agni on the outskirts to try and help out, but it is mostly going to be down to the DPS race of the Kingslayer versus the Empty Decrypts plus Corpse Explosion combo. Like that wave is gone. Level 5 has been reached for the Serket and the Arpwash. Beads on the Agni quite early on wasn't going to be pulled in. So that's some very nervy beads there from Fire Elementals. Interesting to see Fire Elementals playing the God of Fire. So, obviously sticking true to his name, sticking true to his brand. Like me playing Anubis every single game. Wave gone again. 7 seconds until red buff spawns. They notice it's good damage by the Serket. Real good damage, real good poke by Synaptic. So they go ahead and decide to take up the buff. Do have a note here, the fact that Suboptimal and Synaptic have swapped from the DPS and tank roles respectively. Synaptic was playing the mages in the last game, this time has elected to play the Serket as we go into a quick pause. As Suboptimal has unfortunately DC'd. They're going to be, well, we have been informed that it's going to be a quick restart, so we're going to quickly go to a short break whilst we wait for these issues to be resolved. We'll be right back. And we are back. We're back in the game, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that quick pause, but we are back. And unfortunately, we did miss a kill as Fire Elementals did fall down for first blood. Synaptic and Suboptimal managed to pick that one off. Again, my apologies if that one was not caught on stream. But they are back. They are ready to play, and they are kicking this game off with a bang. Meiju with some freshness in their legs. They did play in that last game, don't forget. Hayden still need to be warmed up to the sense, still need to be warmed up to the aggression that Meiju are bringing. And it's not going to be easy for them. Suboptimal already building into some defense early on, building into that Tyrannical Plate Helm. 85 magic power, 40 physical protection, and also helps buff his minions in the lane to make it a little bit more difficult for them to be taken out. Just a bit more focus, a bit more attention has to be taken up by Hayden to clear out those camps. Clear out those waves. Gauntlet being picked up here by Mighty Altrol, who's going to go into a more defensive, a more supportive build up on the set. I'm not sure if I like it to be this defensive on the set. I'd like to see I don't mind a defensive set, I don't mind tank set, but I would like to see it more bruiser-centric than going straight for a gauntlet. I agree, gauntlet probably is needed just to try and combat some of the absurd damage that comes out from Team Mage's side. Good taunt, good bit of damage coming out there as well, but a good, even better teleport gets Altrol away from danger. Just gets into a little bit of safety. Meanwhile, Fire Elementals, we go into that Warstaff just to try and negate some of this, you know, burst, to give himself a little bit of a chance at survival over here on the, over on the Agni. He has to be very careful here, because just setting up a little bit of an ambush right now is Meiju. Synaptic is just backing off, and just gonna get this red buff for free. Gonna go onto the circuit. There's a good stun, good damage poke out from those meteors, but it's just gonna be a little bit of poke. No full-on commit for the kill just yet. They know that ultimates are still available. They know that Empty the Crypts, but more importantly, they know that the Last Breath ultimate is available. Tiny bit of a different bits of communication there from Meiju, as Synaptic goes on the aggressive, and ObsoleteWolf goes back to base. When you're in this 2v2 mode, you need to be playing as if you are just one person together. Good damage, good poke, but again, Apa's just not there to follow up on the damage. I was clearing out the wave, getting himself some more stacks on that Warlock staff. 21-21, so perfect score so far in terms of minion kills for Fire Elementals, and Mighty Altrol being around for them. But still just a little bit behind Synaptic, who is sat at 24 stacks on that Gauntlet of Thieves, going into another defensive item right now. Another magical protection item. Could be a Bulwark of Hope, could be a Hardwood Amulet. I would imagine that it's not going to be a Pestilence, or I would also imagine it's not going to be a Talisman of Energy, just because there isn't too much to really benefit from the Talisman of Energy, and the healing coming out from Aiden is going to be negligent at best when you've got the Arpwash on your side. This is one of the faster leads that we've seen so far today. The other two games went off to a good start for the opposite team, but Meiju always managed to find themselves in a winning position, managed to come back, and found themselves with a delightful 2-0. Just very strange decision. The Circuit just playing keep away there from the Agni in the set. Meanwhile, just going around the back of the tower and clearing it out suboptimal. Level 11 on this Arpwash now. And Synaptic just saying, okay, that's fine. You do you. I'll just stay back here. I'll keep him busy. You stay safe. You go clear waves. You go be a fed Arpwash and get yourself even more farm. But they've both backed. They're gonna get to the red buff just about in time. It has spawned. And Arpwash is there. And has successfully taken it down. Circuit gonna be taking that buff up on top of herself. A Set and Agni go back further into the lane. Forced to dash away at the tower, just scared of where the Circuit was jumping to. Tower Dart comes out, beats on the Agni, is forced. Teleporting in with the Kingslayer is going to be the Set, but just taking too much damage. Out comes the Circuit, Last Breath Ultimate, and final boss. Set is going to fall down. There's just one more tick. One more tick needed to do it. He just about gets away. Good stuff from the Agni, gets the Circuit off the back of the Set, but that was so close. Both sets of beats being used. Blink on Circuit used. The only one that's safe from any relic usage there is suboptimal on the Arpwash. Explosive fight there. All started with a little bit of a dive there coming out onto Fire Elementals. Focus switched over onto Mighty Altrol, and he barely gets out alive. Action back on the mid lane now, as it's just set, waiting for an Agni to be around to clear some of those minions, to clear up some of that wave for him, to help stack up that gauntlet. Taunt comes out again in Circuit. However, not really paying too much use to the Circuit passive right now is Synaptic. Always with the basic attack in between those abilities, just to eat up those poisons, meaning it doesn't get the benefit of getting 10% of their health taken away, or 15% with all three of those poisons on top of the afflicted target. Just looking for the more guaranteed, more easily confirmed damage rather than the Hail Mary that could potentially be there with 2 or even 3 poisons. Again, clearing way behind the Phoenix. I'm going for a speed buff invade here. Very aggressive play here, coming from Major and Hayden. Again, just don't have answers to this. This is unprecedented. If you have a look at the graphs, there was a small dip there when they got the first blood, and already experience difference close to 3,000, goal difference close to 2,000. Meiju turning up the style here. They want to just get done with this matchup. They want this lower bracket grand finals to be over already, and they want to make sure that they're in that upper bracket grand finale. And I'm doing a good case to showcase why they should be up there. They have lost the red buff that has gone the way of Hayden, so it's catching them slipping just a little bit there in their timers. Remember, it is unrelenting, it's punishing if you don't get your timers perfectly on a joust map. Especially if it's your lower. Dash in there from Fire Elementals, then looking to go ObsoleteWolf by himself. Out goes the Empty Crypts. Turning on more damage than he took there is suboptimal. Helped out a little bit by the fact that he's got that extra physical protection, meaning that the skewer didn't do as much damage as it probably would have done to an Outwash. Oh my god, that turnaround damage from him was just nasty. I don't think they're going to see Hayden dash in aggressively again to just poke out this Outwash. They need to commit to fully killing him. They do have a window of opportunity to do that. I mean, the Empty Crypt's ultimate is down. For how long, they don't know. One of the benefits of Chronos Pendant is that it can skew your opponent's perception of timers. Your ultimate will always feel like it's pretty much coming up of cooldown any second. And it closes their window of opportunity so much to punish you for your ultimate being used. Give it a fight. Good usage of beads there from Fire Elementals to get away from that corpse explosion. Would have done a humongous amount of damage. And especially would have been followed up by Synaptic there with the Last Breath ultimate on the Circuit. That would almost guaranteed have been the kill if he did not get away from that explosion. Blue buff going to spawn any second now. Maybe you do know about this. They do have this timer on lock. As they managed to take it away. Yeah, probably looking to leap over the wall. And there it is, leaping pretty much near the tower line. Not going to go aggressive, though, because he needs to wrap around and help out ObsoleteWolf with a perfect blink. Just avoids that flame wave. That is unbelievable reactions there for ObsoleteWolf to just get himself out of a bad spot and put himself into a great spot for that invade. Down goes the side camp as well. Complete domination of the map so far by Meiju. But they haven't got the tower shot. That dash has been caught by Agni. The Agni dash is completely gone. That Circuit Last Breath ultimate is probably going to do a fair bit more damage. Just one more tick is needed. Leap away from Synaptic. Just about surviving his Fire Elementals, but catching the dash with that taunt. Gotta feel good if you're Synaptic. Gotta feel horrific if you're Fire Elementals, but relief on your face as you get back to base safely. We need to see Synaptic build into a little bit of damage now, and I think that's what is going to happen here. The Gladiator Shield has come out. Give himself some cooldown reduction. Give himself some extra damage there. 40 power on top of it. As well as 25 power, 40 physical protections, 200 health. You can see that passive there, dealing additional damage when they're below 60% health, which Fire Elementals was at that point. Dashing in aggressively, looking to try and poke out the Circuit. All 3 meteors are going to be down for the Agni, and Circuit's only about 60% health. It's not what you want at this stage of the game. Then again, Circuit is being building into a fair bit of magical protection. Got that Talisman of Energy, and has now gone into a Kasari. Again, I don't agree with the Talisman of Energy because I don't see too much use out of it on an Outwash and a Circuit. But just making it work so far. Agni gonna be taunted back in, dashing aggressively once again. Now comes a stun once more. Set over the wall, looking to steal that blue buff, unsuccessful in doing so. Just helps Arpwash clear it out quicker and gets him back to lane, where he can help Synaptic stay alive. Pressing a little bit of poke there. They're looking for him, and Agnes forced to use his beads, forced to dash away defensively, but it's not going to be enough. Just diving under the tower. Free Elementals falls down once again. Set going to be stunned out by the Fleeting Breath, and huge damage coming out from all those clones from the Kingslayer ultimate. This could still be a fall here for the Arpwash, but he's too slippery. He's too much to deal with. It is too difficult to deal with this Arpwash. Don't let him have it again. He is playing lights out on it as they find themselves a 3-0 lead. Meiju looking like they're the team that were waiting in the lower bracket grand finals this entire time, coming out strong here with a massive performance. The set did all it could in that fight. Went on the Arpwash, just zoned him away from Fire Elementals, but it wasn't enough. Saket did way too much damage for Fire Elementals to handle, and the second that Empty the Crypts came over the top of the set, it was game over for Mighty Altrol, as he had no way of counteracting the anti-heal coming out from those corpses, plus the raw amount of damage that he was just taking. That's just seen in that level disparity. Level 17 on the Arpwash, level 16 on the Saket versus 2 level 14s. It's not a fight that they can realistically take here, Hayden. They have to sit back, they have to let the Titan help them. But conversely, if they sit back in the Titan, Arpwash could just run in there with his Empty the Crypts and end the game instantly. It will do a lot of damage to this objective, so they're almost caught between a rock and a hard place here, Hayden. Do they fight outside of the Titan room and risk losing the 2v2, which is almost always going to happen? Or do they take a 3v2 with the Titan on their side and risk the Titan just getting blown to smithereens by an Arpwash? It's not a position I envy them in whatsoever, just not what I would like to see, but just a little bit of a fight skirmish going on between the two assassins, the two tanks, as I would say. Just backing off now is Synaptic. Then she got that Genji's Guard. Gonna go into another item later on. But I imagine next up on the docket is going to be finishing up the war flag into either a war banner or a Spartan flag. I think the war banner is going to do just a world of good. Good taunt there, good dash in. Now goes the Fleeting Breath. Ultimate just looking to punish his Acne for playing the Acne. But forcing the dash away. Saket chasing up again. One more taunt should do it, and down he goes. Fire Elementals falls down once again. This is most likely looking like game here. Mighty Altrol, I don't think he could defend against 2 by himself. We saw just how devastating this Arpwash was to the set in the previous fight. Don't think it's going to change much here. 24 seconds on Fire Elementals. Has to try and stall out for that amount of time. Can he do so? Can he be the savior his team needs? Going to try and clear the wave. And out comes the Kingslayer ultimate. Well, the Empty Crypts isn't available for him right now, so this could be a very good fight for him. This could be a kill here. Arpwash taking so much damage, just about lives. Just about lives. That's so unfortunate. There's the Empty the Crypts ultimate. Titan taking a lot of damage. 1 second on Fire Elementals. He's back up. Dash out aggressively. Down about 10-20% on the Titan. 30% was taken off in just a blink of an eye, so 50% total. And they do survive another day, thanks to the fact that Mighty Altrol delayed them just a little bit long enough. And he's going to get aggressive again, wants to try and finish off what he started, but might be bit off a little bit more than he could chew. Saket dashes away, Arpwash backing underneath the tower, and that's going to be it for their sort of chase. Phoenix is back up though, and once more red buff has spawned, so Hayden finding themselves 2 very minor wins there in that little engagement. They get the red buff, their Phoenix is back up, so it means they can defend a lot more easier. It is what they needed at this stage of the game, but the question is Set being this far up by himself what they needed? I don't think it is. I think it's just a little bit of greed there, but does get the circle a little bit out of it. Just chasing him down though. Unrelenting is Synaptic.
Killing them is now all the more exciting.
Here's our boss. ObsoleteWolf finally joining the party. Phoenix gonna be quite low. Agony gonna be even lower. It is gonna get out. Circuit out with the barest amount of health. Agony just doing what he can to defend. One more basic attack should do it. And ObsoleteWolf does pick that up. Out comes the Kickstarter ultimate. They know that the Empty Decrypts is down, and this is going to be a kill. This is gonna be the first kill on the board for Hayden. Who's gonna pick this one up? It is gonna be Mighty Altrol, who's finally put a stop to the Outwash nonsense and extended this game out to a 20-minute game. 4-1 reads the kills. That doesn't tell the entire story. The story has been so far suboptimal on this Outwash, having a tremendous game. Synaptic being absolutely unrelenting in his aggressiveness. But a comeback is still on the cards. Joust, one of those game modes that can flip on the whim of a dime very easily. I say that, Final Muscles finds himself caught out. Oh, what are you doing? What? Our troll just walks right into the poison minions, gets himself a little bit of last breath to put on top of him. That's going to help Circuit a lot in this trade out here. Remember, if you see a poison minion, don't go next to it. Just let it die elsewhere. A little bit more damage again, but again, not utilizing the fact that Circuit has a passive called Catalyst, which will do more damage if they're afflicted by multiple poisons. Potentially kills the set there with it, I don't know. But it is something that they are going to be aware of going into future games, because other teams will punish you for that lack of knowledge. They'll know that they can survive a bit longer. Also, just as a note, a little bit of a mistake here from Hayden, Mighty Altrol, more specifically in his build. Going into the Ikival and going to the Frostbound Hammer, the attack speed slow on one of them will stack. Only, oh, the dash is caught out once again by the last breath. It's so unfortunate if you're Fire Elementals, just because it's happened multiple times now. Your dash has been caught out. It's not something that's fun as a mage player. It's something that's fun in any form of player. He just has to try and deal with it though, with Circuit going to be back into base. ObsoleteWolf doing what he can to just try and push this down a little bit further. But in the end, it's not going to be the end of the game here for Hayden. They hang on once more. It's 21.5 minutes into the game as they continue to find themselves just barely hanging on to the cliff's edge. They're hanging on by a pinky. And just standing over the top of the ledge, looking down menacingly, is Synaptic, and ObsoleteWolf just behind them. Both of them looking at each other, just waiting to press down on the boots as hard as possible onto that one little finger holding them up, just to cast them into the shadows of defeat. Phoenix going to be spawning in about the next 10 seconds. Let's scratch that next 5 seconds. In comes the Phoenix, and out it will go pretty much straight away. Down it does go. There's the last breath ultimate, and there comes Empty Decrypts as well, but just dashing away is the set once more. A little bit of damage onto the Titan. Good poke there by Agony, just to try and get something return onto him. Taunt should do it, and there it is. Fire Elementals forced down once again. It's the tale of which mage just dies quickest, and so far, it's pretty much always been the Agony. One more little bit of damage onto the Titan should do it, and there it goes. One corpse explosion will take it. 22.5 minutes in, Meiju pick up the first game of this lower bracket grand finals and find themselves one game away from a date with Destiny in the absolute grand finals and securing themselves a little bit of that cash prize. We're going to take a break as we load up game number 2, but until then, stick around, listen to some tunes. You thought we were going to be gone for long. No, we're back again. We're ready, all ready for game number 2 of this best of 3. A little bit of a difference in draft here as we see Sobek taken off the table again on her Tiamat, Persephone, Guan Yu, available. Guan Yu, not picked. Thoth, taken up instead. Sol taken off the table, Aphrodite, Osiris, Gilgamesh, so pretty much all gods you would expect to be banned are taken away, but with this Thoth, this Odin does look tasty. The Hades joins in as well. Very different draft here that we see coming out from Meiju as Hayden locks in the Bologna and Thoth combination. This is going to be a massive game, this one. So we see Odin and Hades, two gods we haven't seen throughout pretty much the entirety of this tournament, come in on the same team to try and deal with the Thoth Bologna. I mean, the second the Thoth dashes, you know that there's going to be a blink from Odin and Hades just running on top of this Thoth just to try and run him down and make sure he just can't get away. I need to see a Phantom come out early here from Bologna and Thoth. I need to see one of them take up a Phantom early just so this Thoth could survive. Otherwise, it could be game over quite quickly. Alright, we're going to go to a very short break as we wait for the countdown to count us in to this game. Enjoy some more tunes as the best of 3 lower bracket finals takes place. Its second game very shortly. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Unknown Gods 2v2 tournament. We're in the lower bracket grand finals. Game number 2, Meiju, with a very impressive game 1 victory over Aiden. Made it look, again, quite easy for themselves. The Outwash Circuit combo worked a treat for them, and now they're coming up against completely different composition. It's not the Agony set from last game, it's a Bologna Thoth. Thoth, being able to keep his distance, should be a more difficult fish to fry here. But they do have a comp to go up against and see this composition, as I forgot to press the transition. My apologies. But I did press it, I just pressed it the wrong way. So, you see the Odin and the Hades going up against this Bologna Thoth composition just to see how well this pans out. Hades just about secures those little gremlins before the Bologna is able to catch up and do some steel damage of her own. A little bit of a sustain, a little bit of dashing away. Coming from Odin just to try and clear the wave. They want to hit level 5 fast. They want to make sure that they can just get this Phantom off cooldown to begin with, and then look for another aggressive fight. It's all about not the first fight, it's the second fight. How does the second fight go? Steal away the minis yet again, but they may have been off a little bit too much. Good blink from Hades gets him away from the danger, and a good blink as well from ObsoleteWolf gets him out of danger too. Both blinks have been expended. If you're Thoth, you're going to feel pretty good about the fact that both blinks are down, meaning that it's more difficult for them to aggress. Thoth over the wall nearly picks up first blood. The root it almost hit, but the leap away from ObsoleteWolf gets him out of danger. So far, so good for Hayden, as they weren't really given much space in the last game. They weren't given much time to operate. But this game, a little bit more different. The unorthodox draft coming here from Meiju could be their downfall if they're unable to utilize it correctly. Red buff has spawned. First is good, and Meiju are the ones to secure the red buff. It's a little bit distorted. Thoth has dashed. Odin could look to just bounce back in here, but a little bit too far away is Thoth. I would presume the second that the dash was heard by the Odin, just the leap right back into him. Now comes Final Judgment. Ooh, the Raven Shout comes out at the best possible time. The last second to save his life. Both ObsoleteWolf and Snaptic have gone into the Bumber's dagger here. I mean, it gives them immense control and secure of pretty much every single buff that they are fighting over. And it can transition into the Bumber's Hammer in the late game to give themselves some more sustain, more cooldown reduction. I don't think they both need it. I would like to have seen one of them get something that allows them to deal with the Bologna a little bit better. We could have seen some more physical defense coming up from the Hades, for example. Alternatively, we could have seen, a bit more supportive item come out from the Odin, or a bit more damaging in terms of Bluestone. There's more options out there rather than the Bumber's dagger. But this is the route they've gone for. It will help them secure their jungle camp very easily, which could have been one of the things that they would really struggle with without these items. Book of Thoth taken up here by the Hades, as he's looking to try and stack that one up. Meanwhile, some magical defense built early on from suboptimal on this Odin. He's looking to try and keep this Thoth at bay. Out comes the cage, and the cage is going to catch out the dash. The Thoth has utilized his Phantom, but it's not enough. He utilized the Phantom, sorry, given by Bologna, but it's still not enough to get away from this deadly combo. The dash was caught, that's all she wrote. First blood goes the way of Meiju. That's exactly how they planned it. That's if they could have written the script of how a fight should go, that's how it goes. Bologna taking a lot of damage there from the Hades. This is why you don't really fight Hades when he has his blight on you. He does some serious damage to you. Kadusha shield being built up by the Odin gives itself a good mix of protections. A little bit of power as well, but not too sure on it, given that it's going to be benefiting the Hades rather than himself. Whilst I agree you do want to get items to help benefit your teammate, you also want to make sure that you get some of the benefits from it in terms of its passive. And the 100 health is quite nice, I would imagine. I do agree that that's quite nice. And don't forget, it's all healing, so it will affect potions as well. But who knows? This is probably one of those items that you'll see its effect very passively going through the later stages of the game. The Hades, billions of lifesteal now, will be amplified by this healing amplification item. Dashing is a thought as well. There's the blink, and without a dash to get out of this ultimate, that is going to be yet another kill. Bird Bomb, see you later! Eagles Rally came through, but it's not going to be enough. This is why you don't dash in front of Meiju. They are, in the last round and in this round, they've proven that they will punish mages so easily who dash in front of them. And once again, it just comes out the Hades with the blink, blinks over the root, and gets a free Pillar of Agony onto this Thoth. Just taking down the side camps so far on Meiju, just to get himself a little bit further ahead. Himself a little bit more on the good old farm side.
Simply not even close.
Well, looking like it's the 2-0 so far, going up into the Adventurer's Blade right now is suboptimal. I imagine that's going to go into a Winged Blade just to try and reduce some of the slows that are potentially coming out here. Some from Bologna, some from Thoth. No, it's going to be a Relic Dagger actually. A Relic Dagger picked up here by suboptimal. Gives him a good amount of health. Some cooldown reduction is always nice, especially if you're looking to just try and cage this bird on cooldown. There it is, the cage has come out again. There is the Phantom. But because he has gone through the cage walls, he has taken a little bit of damage from that Odin ultimate. There's the Pillar of Agony, forces out the Eagles Rally. So that's 2 ultimates for 1 used. Red buff goes the way of Meiju. Bologna dives in though, and this could spell disaster over the wall, but Hades unable to catch up. The extra movement speed from Bologna, passive plus the speed buff, gets her out of there. Pretty much most other gods in that scenario would have died, given what they just did. But not your boy Fire Elementals. He lives. Fight another day. Blue Wolf taken down there. Well, I'm just pushing up the wave a little bit. I'll take on a lot of damage as he's forced to go back underneath the tower. Hades is going to be looking for it. There's the blink. There's the detonate. The Devour of Souls just obliterates the remaining health bar of this Thoth. Now we see one of the reasons why Thoth's first pick just hasn't worked out so far in this tournament. Bellona being bullied out underneath her own tower. Hades could be the one to receive this kill. Just one more shot should do it. Actually, could be getting out. Nope. So ObsoleteWolf with a blink, with a basic attack, gets the kill, and puts yet another one on the board for the team. It's gone from bad to worse here for Hayden. They came in with, again, high hopes, but once again, it's always on Meiju just doing what they do best. Doing what they do best. And it's just making the opposition pay for jumping in front of them.
Not even close.
Pythex piece built up by Synaptic, just constantly stacking on some more of that healing for him and for SubOptimal. We go into a bit more physical defense now, SubOptimal, just to try and help facilitate more tower dives, more Phoenix dives later on. They are just stacking up items to help synergize with each other and their own style of play, and that's something we haven't seen from some of the other teams. See, the Frostbound Hammer on the Bellona could help in aiding Thoth hit some of his abilities, but with that wall you don't really need to aim most of your abilities that well to be able to hit people. Stun onto the Thoth once again. Dash has been used. Jumping underneath the tower, they're looking for the fight once again. There is a dive from the Hades. There's the cage. I mean, there's no more point in saying what's happening. It is the exact same fight over and over again. The detonate just almost saves the life of the Hades. Good Raven Shout, and the Raven Shout baits Bellona into using that bludgeon aggressively, and Odin survives the scare as taking down the tier 1 tower now. But Hayden, they finally get themselves on the board. They kill Synaptic, who almost survived with that detonate. Oh, blue buff going to be taken away here by Meiju as they are making a storm here for the Grand Finals. It's a don't forget, this is the lower bracket Grand Finals. The team here that wins this matchup goes into the upper bracket Grand Finals, but they are at a disadvantage. The team that won the upper bracket Grand Finals go into the next steps with a set advantage. So they only have to win one best of 3. Meiju, they can win this. They can win the next best of 3. But that will then force a bracket reset, meaning that they have to win another best of 3 yet again. So they ideally are looking at 4 more games, excluding this one. Cage comes out from Odin, not looking at the Thoth this time, just going for the blow, but out comes the Eagle's Rally. Using that defensively. Blinks are available for the Hades and for the Odin. There's the detonate. Again, they're just trying to force this Thoth to dash, and that's when they're going to go aggressive. There is the Pillar of Agony once again. Aegis has come out, but it's not going to be enough. Bellona eats the Bird Bomb as well. Frenzy has been popped. A little bit more attack speed. There's the stun. There's the detonate. There's the deicide. Double kill for SubOptimal. And Hayden just brushed aside here so far. This was an unorthodox draft, to say the least, from Meiju. And it could have gone so differently. It was a great start from Hayden as they found themselves on the front foot straight away. As they found themselves with the ability to just command the first red buff spawn. But it's just fallen downhill so fast. The second level 5 was hit on the side of Meiju. The tables were turned. The game plan came together and they executed it perfectly. Every single fight of these has been textbook from the side of Meiju. And it's just been it's been a clear display of why this team feels like they are within a chance of winning the entire tournament. Of course, we're talking about it like they've already won. They still have to close out this game. They still have to be professional about it. Still have to go ahead and kill the Titan. But with how these fights are going so far, with how methodical they are being, with getting the soft dash before they even fully commit, I don't see this match going any other way other than a major win so far.
Simple illusion.
Alright, there's the blink, there's the cage once again, there's the detonate, there's the Devour Souls, there's the Eagles Rally to try and get away from all of this mess. Is it going to be enough? Spear throw just about misses, but with the Thoth dead, with the Eagles Rally down, they're going to walk into the Titan. They're probably just going to end here. There's a little bit of extra attack speed, there's the detonate, just for some little bit of extra healing, but just clearing the minions is Bologna. This is what you sort of need to do. Don't look for the fight, just look to try and clear some minions, look to try and delay the inevitable. There's the deicide, 10 seconds on Mighty L-Troll. But I don't think Mighty L-Troll even gets a chance to spawn to influence the game here. There's a little bit of a minion heal. Titan down to 50% health, 40% coming in shortly. There's final L-Troll, dashes in aggressively. You know what happens when you dash. You know what happens when you dash in front of these guys. They don't even let him get to the fountain. He's just trapped there. And there's yet another deicide. 10 seconds of fire elementals. But the minion's just going to do too much damage to this Titan anyway. There it is. Meiju. In 15 minutes, 10 seconds. The quickest game that we've had on stream today. Brush aside their lower bracket opposition and find themselves going into the grand finals. We will have that game coming up on stream shortly. Until then, we're going to go to another break. Stick around, you do not want to miss these grand finals. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, this is not a match for the faint-hearted. Meiju versus Hell. It's here. It's beginning. It's game number 1 of the grand finals. Welcome, everyone, to this phenomenal day. Alorian and Freecast make up beside Hell, the upper bracket winners, the lower bracket winners that we've seen throughout the day. You know him, you love him, Meiju, which is not Synaptic and Suboptimal 22. See, the bands have already started off, a little bit of respect thrown out to both teams as the Arpwash taken off the table. The Hell and the Arachne are bands taken away as well. All 4 gods on the side of the Meiju side for bands are not gods, they're goddesses. As they rounded off with the Morrigan and with a Aphrodite. That leaves Gilgamesh over for the first time this tournament. Gilgamesh is going to be locked in instantly, but that's met with a Tyr and Anubis. Don't forget, it's impossible to kick somebody who's self-rooted away, so that Anubis 1 could do wonders up against the Gilgamesh. The Tyr, very difficult to knock back himself, considering his dash is one dash that pretty much beats every other dash in the game. What it does the Gilgamesh get paired up with, though, that is the big question. Who goes alongside? It's going to be the E-set, the first time we're seeing E-set as well. This is certainly going to be a spicy game. Anti-heal galore going to be built up here. 2 very aggressive frontline warriors that want to just dive in and do the business versus 2 backliners who can turn on you in the blink of an eye and make your health bar disappear like they're magicians. It's going to be very interesting to see just exactly how this game turns out. Hell versus Meiju Grand Finals game number 1 going to be starting off very shortly. We're just loading it into game right now. Just can't wait for this one to get started. I'm really excited because we do see 4 gods we haven't seen throughout the day. We see one of them was just consistently banned, and then the other 3 just out of nowhere picked up for this matchup. Obviously, respect shown to both teams in terms of the bans, in terms of what was picked up earlier throughout the day. This is the last set. Might not be the last game. Certainly won't be the last game, as we definitely have at least one more after this. Don't forget, we could have a total of 6 games in this grand final. If all goes well. If Meiju win this first set 2-1, they force a bracket reset, in which case Hell will then need to win the next best of 3 to claim victory, and Meiju can win the best of 3 to claim victory themselves. Starting off now, waiting for the buff to spawn, and there they go, buff spawned. Iset helping out over the wall where she can. Speed buff going to go the way of the Gilgamesh, speed buff going to go the way of the tier as well. But can they compete with the clear of the Anubis and the tier? I don't think they can. One more basic attack should do it, and there it is. Anubis does get the blue buff, and they do get it faster than Iset and Gilgamesh do clear out their side. So, if you want a fast clear, go for the Anubis. Already pushed into the tower, already pushed underneath for a little bit of damage, but fearlessing himself back out. Both warriors taking excruciating amount of damage early on, but something to note, all 4 members of this game have beads. This is not something we saw before. We saw meditations, we saw sunders, we saw blinks, we saw phantoms, we saw Aegises. No, everyone here recognizes just how deadly the CC chains can be. There we go. Already a good use of beads. Kicked into the wall. Tyr just needs to get a little bit of heal, but he just can't take the time to get his heal off because he's dashing away. Ellerin picks up the first kill of the game, but it was so close to being the other way around. So low. Well, he said in Gilgamesh, but now for healing himself back up to health thanks to some potions. Not much Anubis could do in that scenario as he just found himself looking away in horror. Suboptimal got kicked right into the wall. Level 5 now, Eastern and Gilgamesh going to go back to base. It's the East. Clearing up a camp is Gilgamesh. Just need to wait until the red buff spawns, which is going to happen in 20 seconds time. A little bit of an ambush here, but with beads still available on the Eastern and beads still available on the Gilgamesh. I don't know who they're ambushing for. It is just gonna be a beads force here. They are just gonna force out the relic. Spotted out, great communication there as well. As out comes the gaze as well. Nest gaze was used by the Anubis, but that's a great kick from the Gilgamesh. The drop kick of the tier through the Anubis to stun the Anubis, keeps him in place, and that's gonna be his second kill of the game. Meiju, they found themselves behind in previous games, they found themselves trodden on, but they haven't found themselves down in kills before. They've usually been the ones to be the aggressive ones, they've usually been the ones to find themselves with that kill lead, but this time it's going to be so much different. Over the wall, Spirit Ball is good, the slow is good, and Freecast picks up the 3rd kill of the game. It is a bright start here for Hell, and you can see just exactly why that they have been the ones to come through the winners bracket. They're the ones that have been undefeated so far throughout the entirety of the tournament. In fact, every single time a team has taken the first game, they have taken the second game as well. The bundle stat there provided by ObsoleteWolf during the break. So all 2-0s, and with how this game started, you could see this one going that way as well. I've also only just seen the tiers build. Very different start item to what you usually see. He's gone in for the leather cowl, which is an in-hand based item, but there is a reason for this. This item, if you get to level 20, which is a big if in this game mode, you can then upgrade it to the leader's cowl, or you can upgrade it to the hunter's cowl. Now obviously the hunter's cowl is going to be used for that. As out comes the circle protection, it's just too much damage. Going very aggressive with very little magical protection to his name. It's just not a recipe for success here. This tier, it's not found home right now, this tier. But yes, so the hunter's cowl isn't going to be the option here, because that's again in-hand based. But the Leader's Cowl. The Leader's Cowl will give him 40 power, give himself some extra health. Will, of course, give him a little bit of attack speed. A little bit of lifesteal. However, what it will give is, will give him a passive of giving extra power of 5% to nearby allies. And that will also gain some stacks. If there's 2 people versus 1, that's 1 stack. There's 2 people and a 0, there's obviously 2 stacks. And those stacks will increase the amount of power given just a little bit more. So this build is just designed to give Anubis as much power as possible. Beads forced there by Gilgamesh. Beads forced on the Gilgamesh as he jumps in. He's forced to just swipe away. Very surprised we didn't see a fearless attempt there from the tier, because Iset was very aggressive just right next to the wall. But letting them survive. Out comes the Spirit Ball. Out comes the jump in for Gilgamesh, and there comes the Winds of Shmash. Once again, the Circle Protection is dropped. A little bit of extra damage. That gaze just gave himself so much health from that Death Gaze. The amount of sustain there was amazing, and Hellerin falls down because of it. Don't fight an Anubis with that amount of health, because he's going to have his Bancrofts, he's going to sustain up so much from it, and you're just not going to live. You need to get your anti-heal online early on in this game, and Fight Back from Meiju is already on, less than 1,000 gold behind now. Anubis is a king of lifesteal. Fast start all you want, aggress all you want. Without any anti-heal online, you just can't deal with an Anubis like that, and they just, a little bit of friendly competition with the spam laugh afterwards. We'll call it friendly competition for now. A buff given to the Anubis as well. So ObsoleteWolf finds himself picking up a speed buff, blue buff dropped alongside of it just to keep some parity with timers and keep some parity with experience gain. Small contestable grunts over on this left-hand side are going to be taken down as well. Mid lane just losing a fair bit of that wave to the tower. 4 creeps dying without anybody around. 6 creeps in total did fall. 2 of them did have Gilgamesh around to just receive a little bit of something. Beads have been used by the tier just to try and get himself in a position to Fearless, but misses both Fearlesses. Out comes the Anubis wrap! But there it is, the Circle Protection comes around and just swings that health swing back in favor of the Iset and of the Gilgamesh. Wings of Shmash are going to be used. Jump away, looking to try and just aggress on the tier a little bit more. That little bit of anti-heal, that 20% anti-heal, plus the Tainted Seal anti-heal, putting up to 40% has made all the difference. And there we go. 5 kills to 1. Reads the scoreline right now. 7 minutes 40 seconds on the scoreboard as hell. Who are your upper bracket winners? Find themselves in a commanding position in this first game. No real danger posed by this tier here onto the Iset. Always going to be safe. No need to force the beads there. Good relic usage by Hellerin by holding onto the beads throughout the entire engagement. Dropkick just not going to go off there. A little bit of a heal given back to the tier. Now that we've got ourselves our full grasping hands. Oh, jumping by Gilgamesh actually. This is going to go aggressive onto Anubis. Stun lock once again. A little bit of slow need to happen, just avoiding the grasping hands to avoid giving him some extra sustain. Needs to turn around and do something here, does the Anubis, but it's going to be too little too late. One more basic action. Do it. Free cast on a killing spree right now. Just a little bit of body blocking there, but I think there's a reason for it. They want this Demon King. They want it now. The tower's already gone. This will disable the Phoenix. This is going to go from even worse to much, much worse for Meiju. Let's ObsoleteWolf can do something about this and can provide a steal. You can't steal against the Circle Protection though, but at the very least you can probably force it here. There is a force and circle protection. And down it goes. Just dashing through the circle though. Takes a fair bit of damage for it, but someone's going to be able to use that Lawbringer to get away from the danger, get himself out of a little bit of a chase. Gilgamesh gonna drop the goose and just go away. He realized that he can't chase away this tier. The tier's gonna get away too quickly. Blue buff is taken. They know he's here. The silence doesn't come out in time, but guess what does come out? The winds of Smash. So Force Anubis back underneath his Phoenix Force. But guess what? It doesn't work. The Phoenix doesn't work. It's not able to help you out this time. And down goes Anubis once more. The anti-heal proving a little bit too much for him in this time. Tier silenced. Wind Gust is good. Spirit Ball is even better. Phoenix falling down to about 20%, 10% health. And it should be taken out. Gilgamesh is just going to run this one down a little bit. 10 minutes into this game. And Side of Hell, they've got themselves a comfortable position. Bull Demon King has been taken. They still have around their waist for a few more seconds. Phoenix is down. Their tower is still standing in almost pristine condition. And they've got even more anti-healing right now. This Anubis, he had his window of opportunity. He had his one little moment in the sun early on. But now the time is over. The sun has set on the Kingdom of Lifesteal. And now it's all about the anti-heal. It's all about the Toxic Blade. The Tainted Steel. The little bit of base attacks. He's healing nothing there. He healed nothing. Because of the 100% anti-heal that was around him. That's why you build anti-heal, kids. That's why you build anti-heal against the Anubis. Now, I said last game that 15 minutes was the fastest game we saw on stream today. Looks like I'm going to eat my words already. Oh, actually, no. Looks like it's going to be saved here. Beads has been used. The Fearless going to go straight through the beads of the E set, but not giving up the chase here, not giving up the Ghost is suboptimal. But I think he realizes he has to know with Gilgamesh being around. Hell, a commanding lead. So friends, we can see the player damage charts there. Anubis and Tyr sitting down at the bottom too. Slight jump up to the Gilgamesh and then a slightly bigger jump up to that E set player damage. It has been absolutely amazing to see just how much damage this E set's done. And it's not like for lack of trying. They have tried to turn around. They have tried to get rid of this E set. They have tried to kill her. It's that circular protection healing. It's been a bit too much. But instead of focusing on anti-heal like they probably should have done on the side of Meiju, they've got it to just pure damage as Anubis force uses beads early on. Didn't they know that E-set doesn't have beads, so they are just going to try and force that 1v1 blink away from the Anubis. Spirit Ball could be here at any second. It does hit him. One more base attack should do it. In fact, it's just the Fire Scimitar going off, and that is going to be yet another kill. 1 and 6 for the Anubis, 0 and 3 for the Tyr. The experiment hasn't worked here in this game. There's Circle Protection, there's the Winds of Smash, and in less than 13 minutes, 9 kills to 1. Hell, take game number 1. It was a little bit brutal, it was a little bit quick, but if you are a fan of Hell, that is exactly what you want it to be. You just want this set to be over and done with, because don't forget, they've got the upper brackets win on their side. They just need to close out this next game professionally, and they find themselves as the Unknown Gods 2v2 champions. We're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be right back with game number 2. Well, that was a very quick break, wasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? We are back with game number 2 of the Grand Finals. Meiju versus Hell. Hell find themselves up 1-0. They also find themselves up 1-0 because of their Grand Final winners bracket advantage. As the bans have already come through on both sides, not much has changed. The Arachne has been left open, but electing not to take it. The Skadi is going to be making its first appearance here. Synaptic takes up the Tyr once again. I'm not too sure I agree with this given his performance in the last game, They have switched out the Anubis for the Janus. I like the change away from the Anubis. The anti-heal was built up very quickly by the side of Hell. It was brutal for them to deal with. In fact, it pretty much just cost them the game. The fact that they built it to anti-heal, meanwhile, Meiju didn't. But going into the Janus now means that the anti-heal not going to be too much of a factor. Shouldn't be rushed into, shouldn't be prioritized over here by Hell. Just remains to be seen what they pick to pair up with this Skadi traditional hunter. One of the first times we're going to see an actual hunter in this tournament. Most of the times it has been a warrior accompanied by a mage. This time, hunter accompanied by a guardian is going to be the composition. I wouldn't mind seeing something like a Ymir, something like a Kabrakan. Something like an Ares would do extremely well against the composition. But Sylvanas is going to be the god of choice here for Freecast. Go alongside Heller and Skadi. Meanwhile, Synaptic and Suboptimal electing for the tier Reprisal and the Janus to go alongside it. Which is waiting for this one to count down into game. When we return from the countdown, we're going to see the second game, potentially the last game of the Unknown Gods 2v2 Joust Tournament. Stick around. Listen to some tunes. Welcome back. Very quick break, very quick listening to some music. In fact, we only got halfway through some of them. And Harry Blue, I will redeem that hydrate for you later once we're done with this game. But right now, we're in game number 2 of the Grand Finals. Hell versus Meiju. Hell with that 1 set and 1 game advantage. Could end it all right here. Meiju, they're hoping that this is just a stumbling block on their road to redemption. They made a hero run so far through the lower bracket today and the day before. It could all end in heartbreak here in the second place, but it's not all doom and gloom for them. They do have a opportunity to get something going here, especially considering they do have the Janus, which is doing a fair bit of work there, but they do have to go up against Hellerin and Freecast once again, who ended that game in dominating fashion. It's a good pull by the Sylvanas to force the beats early on from the Janus. That's not what you want to see. And something to point out as well is the fact that the Sylvanas has gone into a Mannequin Scepter as his item of choice. Meaning he is going to do a lot more damage than you expect the Sylvanas to do. Should be the one clearing the way, freeing up Skadi to use her abilities to poke rather than to clear, which can be one of the things she's strongest at. You don't want to get poked by a Skadi. The Skadi poke is kind of ridiculous. The pull is good yet again, just to say a little bit of damage. I'm going to avoid the ice lance there from Skadi, which is going through the wall. They have pressure on the first wave. That pressure is no more. Backing is suboptimal just so he has the ability to be around for this rep buff contest. In the meantime, it's taking away some of the camps, getting a nice invade off there. Synaptic pushing up aggressively, but look what's happened. Level 5 so far, and Hellerin and Freecast. They could have got aggressive there on the tier if they so wished, but the fact that they both now hit level 5 on the tier and the Janus is going to stem any form of fighting that we could see in the next minute or so. Rep buff is going to be taken here instead. Nice blink. The portal comes down, but no use out of the Wrath of Terror there from the Sylvanas. Just going aggressively is the Skadi, looking to try and get around the wall. There is the Skadi ultimates, just to put Calder into a bit of possession, but look at what's happened. The turnaround from that through space and time was huge, and Synaptic gets the kill. First blood goes the way of Meiju. No more services resumed for them as they put themselves in a position to force the first Game 3 of the tournament. Great turnaround play there by Suboptimal to stay calm under the pressure, realizing it doesn't need to instantly get out using that through space and time, could just hold on to it, turn around at the optimal moment, and use it to help condemn Hellerin to the first death of the game. Well, seeing the same build that we saw last time from Synaptic on the tier. Instead, we are seeing him going into a more traditional build. We're seeing him going into that war flag. Usually is blue stone, we do see, but the war flag definitely can be utilized quite effectively from the support role. But this is instead of that leather cowl that we saw. It was an experiment. The experiment failed. That's fine. You can bench it for another time as you go back to the drawing board on that one. Well, let's look for a pull. That's going to be able to force him up toward the portal himself. And now the game of mind games begins. The little cat and mouse between FreeCast and Suboptimal. If a route is hit, does Suboptimal use the portal or does he wait it out? Because coincidentally, does FreeCast think that Suboptimal's going to portal as per usual? Oh, this is an interesting one. Demon King being started up here by Hell. They have to know this is going down. They have to know this is happening, but instead, back in mid lane, no, they're just clearing out waves. They have no idea this is going down. They have no idea what's happening, and finally, it's hit them. They finally realize what's happened. Their tower is now disabled. What a phenomenal play there by Team Hell. Not only is just going to the jungle to get some of the extra farm, but then to realize, hey, we can probably just do this objective. I'm a Skadi, you're a Sylvanas with Manic Scepter, we can probably just do this, and lo and behold, they can just do it. It's now taking a little bit of poke there, but so is Hellerin. Everyone seems to be going under those portals, everyone seems to be for those portals. Good ice lands to provide a fair bit of poke to the Yanis. Rooted out. Taking a fair bit of damage. There's the Wrath of Terror. There's the pull back in. The ice lance is going to be good. Not going to be good enough though. Is Synaptic getting away with that Lawbringer. Through space and time hits both the Sylvanas and the Skadi, but to what avail? To what damage is that going to do? Not going to do too much. Tower still standing. You can see there for a little timer over the top of it. We have about 10 seconds, 13 seconds maybe, of it being disabled still, so they have to try and get it down now. It has been a lot of damage put onto it, so I think either way they are happy with what progress they made on it. They're just staying it out, sticking it out. And they're going to take the tower. First tower of the game goes the way of Hell once again. Poised delicately in the balance though this game, unlike last one. One kill apiece. Portal through by Suboptimal. They know the blue buff is up, but do they want to fight for it? It's the question. I don't think they do. We'll try and force Hell to back off and surrender this buff. And to do that, to just send Tier up to a little bit of poke. Iceland's not good enough as he gets away with the blue buffs here. Good bit of time, launched. I'll be able to say, well, Vortex just doesn't hit. One more bit of damage and FreeCast has it. That is unfortunate. He would definitely have been able to get a kill. Over the wall he goes, pull back towards the tower. Hellerin with another kill, but that's all set up by FreeCast once again. Was that a little bit of impatience from someone? A little bit of tilt there from the side of Meiju? We will never know. But all around, a bizarre play at best. If Vortex did hit Hellerin, and they did get the kill, what does it give them? It doesn't give them much. It doesn't give them anything, if that. So why go for a kill that could potentially leave both of you dead for the opportunity to get a kill that gets you nothing? Blink. Pull gonna be off the mark. Root gonna be off the mark as well. ObsoleteWolf finds his way back to base. Just almost managing to pull off the impossible there. Demon King gonna be looked at again by Hell, but this time wise to the word Meiju. We go around the bottom. It's gonna be a bait. It's gonna be a wraparound. Both teams looking to fight each other. Sprint has been used. Fearless into the wall. Just Fearless is Calder. You don't Fearless Calder. You don't do that to Calder. Over the wall. Through space and time, it has been forced. Thanks to a good route and thanks to the Eternal Winter, as I like to call it. Oh! Wrath of Terror wasn't needed. Hellerin just basically insta-kills him with an Ice Lance. Synaptic needs to come in and needs to make a big play here. Needs to delay them long enough for Suboptimal to respawn. Or, alternatively, steal the Bull Demon King. Bull Demon King. And it is indeed stolen! Synaptic with the steal, with that defensive stance power cleave. Takes it away from them, keeps his Phoenix activated, disables the tier 1 tower on the side of Hell. Successful steal is successful. This is why you don't rival objectives if you don't have the biggest burst. Oh. You don't really need... Oh! Hellerin with a very aggressive play and a very aggressive death for it. Goes space and time. Doesn't hit Sylvanas, but just clears out the entirety of the wave. Trying to do as much damage to the tower as possible whilst it is still disabled. How much damage does go off onto it? That's the question. Well, enough damage to take it down. Oh, Meiju putting themselves in a position to come back into this game very easily. The Wrath of Terror does not affect the Janus. But just, again, it's off the mark from Hellerin. It's once again off the mark, because it just doesn't root anybody. It doesn't give them opportunity to catch up. Lawbringer used defensively once again. Looking to chase just a little bit, get them off the blue buff right now. Our side of Meiju. The pull, not quite on the mark. The rep buff is up, and if I'm Hell, I'm looking at that rep buff, just securing it, take away some more neutral farm. Make sure that I can give either Sylvanas or myself the rep buff. So just going to leave it on the floor for now. Time was on the buffs, you'd expect the only one to be able to pick this up would be Hellerin. But I don't believe they're going to be back in time with Hellerin's speed buff dropping off for them to be able to pick up this rep buff. But they deny the buff itself, they deny the experience to Meiju, and that is a big thing. Just keep on denying experience to the opposite team. Synaptic caught out a little bit in mid lane, but that's okay. He's fine, he is safe, he is a tier. He's a big scary tier, you don't have to fear him that much. Good damage return there from Janus and from Tyr onto the side of Hell. Both down to about half health, just receiving a little bit of love from Sylvanas Wisps right now to try and keep Hellerin in pristine condition. But look at his Synaptic looking like he's trying to wrap around the back. So Optimal forced to use that blink away as the Scudder was thrown right on top of him. Oh, that's gonna pretty much do it for that little bit of a fight, a little bit of engagement. Pull again off the mark from Freecast. Although the root does hit, not much more he can do about this. The bowler comes down, and he's out. Tyr is out. So Optimal is behind. They see him now. The blink ult has come out for the Sylvanas. The root is there as well, and Suboptimal falls once more. They can get the Bull Demon King here, and they can look to put a commanding position into this game. Look at this point in the last game, they ended. They were ending the game. Tyr looking for another steal Mark II. It's not going to happen this time. Over the ice he goes. The dog get the kill. Who's a good boy? Calder's the best boy. No, this could be the very final game of the Unknown Gods tournament. Bruce wasting time used, but not going to hit absolutely nobody. Through the portal he goes and trying to escape. Calder going to give chase, going to give way. Oh, that portal not going to help him out whatsoever. Just portals basically nowhere. And that's going to be a free kill for Hellerin. Phoenix goes down. Synaptic going to Lawbringer over the top just to try and kill some of those minions, and away he goes back into the jungle. Some minions still live, some minions still around, and they could use those to put some significant damage onto this Titan. 2 minions running in from the jungle. They're down to about 50% health on the Titan already. He could feasibly end here. We could feasibly see an end here already in this game. That's a good ice just to keep the tier away for a little bit longer. Down to 10%. There's the Wrath of Terror. 5%, 2%, 1%. And that is it. That is it for the entire tournament. All 2-0s throughout the entirety of the weekend. And hell, come out victorious. Not losing a single set, looking strong throughout all of the tournament. They find themselves $60 richer. But it's all not commiserations. Obviously, do go to Meiju. Not all doom and gloom though. They find themselves $40 richer. And the team that finishes in third, they find themselves $20 richer. So, it was a very generous prize pool donated, obviously, by the organizers of the tournament Unknown Gods. If you guys out there in North America or even Europe want to find yourselves in some of these tournaments, fun little tournaments that are held very occasionally, who knows, the next one could also be casted by myself on one of the days, you can go and join in their Discord as well. Nice friendly community for you to join into. Link is going to be in the chat. Going in there right now. Big thanks to ObsoleteWolf and Tempest for hosting this tournament and for allowing me to join on in the cast. It's been an absolute pleasure. Big thanks to everybody that tuned in to watch. You guys have been amazing. Thanks to everybody that went in and played in the tournament. You guys are what make it possible. Make sure to go join in on the Unknown Gods server as well. Nice, friendly, upcoming Smite community who will be hosting some more tournaments, like I said, in the future. But my name is Jackal. Thank you guys so much for watching this tournament. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my stream beforehand. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support. We will see you guys next time. That's tomorrow for some Football Manager. Till then, peace.